Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sorry, I just got a message out of nowhere. I apologize. Uh, I didn't mean to to just ghost you guys as soon as I turned on the live. Hope everybody's doing well. So sorry. That was weird. All right. Sorry. That was very strange. What's going on, everybody? Hey, Taurus. Hey, Velvet. JE, OG, Spiff, Jeff, Motley, Chester, Blinded, Valador, Tracy, CJ's in the house, VJ, Ryan, I see you, brother. Lady, Velvet. I already said Velvet. Velvet, you got it twice. Maria, Potty, Tam, Tara. Tara's in the house. Now we can start. That's all I was waiting on. That's all I was waiting on. I wanted to make sure that Tara got here. How is everybody doing today? Yeah, okay. She's giving me permission to start, y'all. We can start this thing now. She is now giving me permission. Yeah. The beard is starting to grow back. It's starting to get there. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, the beard is growing back. It's starting to get there. I got the little shadow going on. We're starting to get it back. We're starting to get it back. I just got just my face looks dirty right now. That's all it is. Okay. I'm growing it as fast as I can. Okay. Every morning I give it a little pep talk. I look in the mirror and I'm like, hey, like, you need to grow faster. Okay. It does not talk back, but it's coming. All right. Do you realize you affect so many people shaving? I did not. I did not know that this was going to be life-changing, monumental, life-changing, monumental things for everyone. I apologize. Okay. I'm sorry. If I had known the negative effects that I was going to cause, okay, I would not have done this to y'all. All right. I will try not to do it again. I will try not to do it again. And yes, I didn't think about the white shirt until I got online. Okay. But it's the shirt I was wearing today, and it's really cute. So I don't know what to do about this situation. All right. I don't know what to do. It was the one I was wearing, and it looks cute. So, like, what do you want me to do here? What am I supposed to do here? Okay. I could go change, but then I wouldn't look cute because I wouldn't be wearing the shirt. You see how this is a problem? All right. I even logged on right here. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I can see myself right here. I can read the chat. I actually pulled it up to see what it looks like. And you can read the chat just fine. I can read it just fine. It's right there. I can see it. Y'all got to put on your glasses. See, this is why I wear these things. I can read it just fine. See, it says, it's okay, we'll suffer. Then it says Vans 2028. Then it says Vans 8. That one went too fast. We all know Ari likes you look cute. You look great. You're making us work too hard here. With brightness at max, I can read it. I'm reading all of this from the phone, by the way. Okay. You're fine. Can we hear your best Trump impression, please? See, I'm reading all of that from here. I'm reading it all from my phone. I'm reading it from my phone right now. I'm reading it from my phone. Yeah. I know. I get. So do I have another shirt around? If I have another shirt around, I can swap it out real quick. What shirt is that? Hold on. I'm not wearing that shirt. I'm not wearing that one. Maybe I can get Ari to come bring me one. Ari, the people are demanding a new shirt. We'll see. Maybe she'll bring me one in a second. Anyways, you'll have to suffer for a little bit until she gets here. So I apologize for that. All right. The people demand it. Taurus, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's see who got those. McRiley, I don't know how to pronounce that. DOD, Danielle. Oh, Danielle got one. Danielle's here all the time. Danielle, how are you not already a member? Hi, Danielle. I'm happy Danielle got one. That's freaking awesome. Danielle's here to talk. And Sheep also got one. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Taurus. W's in the chat for Taurus. W's in the chat for Taurus. Yeah, you guys are over here trying to limit a whole big part of my wardrobe, and it's sad. Okay, I think you guys are trying to keep me down. I think is what it is. All right, Chuck. Well, welcome on in. That's what I'm talking about. Bring me a onesie. Can we get a onesie in the house? Can we get a onesie in the house? That's what I'm talking about. See, Shush is always coming here with the good ideas. Yeah. I thought y'all didn't see color, okay? That's how you use that, right? That's how that works, right? Do I own a onesie? No, the last onesie, I used to own like a Green Man suit. That really happened. I used to own a Green Man suit. That was actually a true story. That actually did really happen in real life. I might still have it someplace, to be completely honest with you. That's totally possible. All right, y'all. Welcome on in. Come on in. Make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're about to turn on these phone lines, get this thing going. We've only had a couple calls so far, so it's not like we're we're drowning over here. It's not like a whole bunch of people are waiting on me. Yes, just like the Always Sunny Green Man. Yes, exactly like that. It 100% like that. Oh, thank you. We got the little mushrooms today. The little cute mushrooms. Oh shoot. I didn't mean to actually click on this one, and I sure as hell didn't mean to make it 200 of them. Oh my goodness. That was a big accident. That's wild. I'm going to leave it at 20. Didn't realize any of that. So that's all right. Velvet, thank you so much for the $2. Said MAGA Mobile comment you said earlier. Yeah, MAGA Mobile is so cool. Yeah, MAGA Mobile is is Trump's phone. You know, Trump has a phone, right? Yeah, the Trump organization, like they put out a phone, right, for you to use. It's like the worst phone you can find. And if you get it, it's just the worst phone you could find, but it's like $200. Yeah. They took the worst phone humanly allowed to be made. They marked it up 500% and put a Trump symbol on it, and his people actually bought it. Yes, that is not a joke. There are actually phones. This is a real thing. This is not a test. All right. Here's from Wired, if I can bring it up. Ah, shoot. I moved everything. So there you go. Nobody received it. That's probably for the best. Yeah. So if no one's gotten one, that is for the best for everyone. All right. So, but this is what I think they're talking to me on whenever they don't have any reception. Like whenever they don't have a reception, they're talking to me on this. Okay. This thing takes photos in 1 FPS. Yeah. Yep. It has 0.5G data on it. 0.5G. Camera has 1 FPS. It has a full keyboard, but you still have to do it like the old school phones where you have to hit the one like 3 times in order to get, like, you know what I'm talking about? In order to get a C. It has a full keyboard, but you still have to type like that. Mm-hmm. Only game you can get on it is Snake. All right. All the letters that spell out Epstein are missing from the keyboard. if you type in Epstein, it automatically just redacts it from the message. It automatically just puts a black line through it on your phone. And then the phone bricks. Oh, you really brought me a shirt?
Yeah, I got told by Ryan.
Yeah, they're complaining because they don't like my shirt. They said it makes me look ugly. That's what they said.
Excuse me?
That's a true story.
I love this shirt.
Wait, change it.
What's wrong with you guys?
Tara, that's what she said.
Tara? That shirt does not make him look bad. What? Why would you say that? That's so rude. No, was it you, Josie? He blamed Tara. Why would you say that? Also, his lighting makes me look extremely white. Like, did you guys know that I could get any more closer to the shade of paper? I didn't realize I could get any closer to the shade of paper, but apparently I can. My goodness. Thank you, Veronica. I also like this shirt. Like, I know they say that they can't read the chat in TikTok. I know. It's a thing. It's a whole thing. Gosh.
Thanks, babe.
You're welcome. I like this shirt.
I'm just over here diming people out. You see this? I just drop bombs then walk out. I just drop bombs and then walk out. Love you, Tara. Now my shirt says Psycho Bunny. Yeah. They're both actually this shirt and the last shirt were both Psycho Bunny shirts. Yeah. I changed because it's hard for people in the TikTok chat, some of them, to be able to see the chat. That's why. When I wear white. I just didn't think about it because I was just wearing the shirt. Yep. So it's harder for them to read it. So I put it on. I haven't seen Tara chat. I think she's actually like for real mad at me. Sorry, Tara. Sorry, Tara. All right. Well, let's open up these phone lines. Let's get to it. Get this thing going. I really appreciate you guys. Velvet, thank you so much for $2 at MAGA Mobile. I thought that was a joke. It is a joke, but it's not a joke. That makes sense? It is a joke, but it's not a joke. Yeah, it exists, but also it's a joke. So, yep, that's how that works. All right, let's open these things up. Let's get this thing going. I really appreciate that. Tara, like, for real, left the chat. I gotta shoot her a message later and be like, yo, I'm sorry. I was joking. It was a joke. Somebody go get Tara. Bring her back. Hello, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm excellent. How old are you?
I am 18.
Where you were you born?
I'm sorry?
Where you were you born?
2007.
All right. 2007? That's not right.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, you'd be either 19 or 20.
No.
No, you're right. It's not
it was
2027 yet.
January 30th.
Yeah. Anyways, I didn't math well. Why do you still support Trump?
Well, I'd say I support him to a degree more on economic, to a more economic degree, I could say, especially considering if you put things such as tax cuts and pro-business incentives, job creation, employee metrics, etc., stuff like that. But I really digress him for, I do not like how he handles social issues.
He doesn't handle any of the issues you just said well. What are you talking about? We hemorrhaged over 1 million jobs just last year. Our unemployment rate's the highest since we shut down for the pandemic.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but it's more of like a social CI. Oh, I'm sorry. More of tax incentive things, but I'm also starting to maybe lean towards more the left on a lot of it. It's more of, I'm just trying to find more of a balance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're trying to find a balance where there shouldn't be one. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So you think, see, what you think is that you think it's like how it was like a long time ago, well before you could vote or anything like that. And like we're like back in the day, like where you could just be like, oh, I'm going to sit like in between these two things and I'm going to be somewhere in the middle. That's not what's going on right now. Socially, Donald Trump sucks. Economically, Donald Trump sucks. So if you're trying to find a middle ground, there isn't one that exists. You're just trying to agree with shitty things.
well, what do you mean by middle ground? Do you mean MAGA or actual?
I'm talking about what you're saying. You're on here saying I'm trying to find a middle ground. You like literally just said that.
Oh, my apologies. I guess.
Sorry, you said a balance. I apologize. You didn't say middle ground. You said balance. I took from that to mean a middle ground.
Oh, okay. I lean more right on just social and like not just social but economic in general. I'm not exactly MAGA, but I would have voted Trump before all of this happened. More of like I didn't really have a grasp on the idea. Now, the more I look at it, especially with ICE and everything, I look more towards Kamala. It's more of I'm just trying to figure out a that kind of specific balance so where we can kind of
What does
agree
Kamala have to do with
to what.
anything, sir? Kamala Harris has been politically irrelevant for like over a year now.
I see what you're saying. My apologies.
Yeah, the election's been over
I
for a
guess.
long time, man. Donald Trump's been president for over a year, and his economic policies
Yeah.
are the ones that are hurting the United States. This has nothing to do with
Yeah.
Kamala Harris, okay? Donald Trump got an economy, okay, that though it was suffering on things like cost of living and housing and all that sort of stuff, was actually succeeding as far as bringing inflation down. It was coming down faster than any industrialized nation on the planet, right? The job numbers looked great, right? Our unemployment number was super low, right? Like all those things were correct. Stock market was at record numbers. Donald Trump got that and flipped everything and turned it back on its head. And we know this even more like right now because, the Fed just announced again that they're not moving interest rates, even though Donald Trump keeps begging them for it, right? Our bond market was tight under the Biden administration. Now it's bad, right? We have a whole bunch of other countries talking about selling off their bonds, right? Our exports were very good. We had a very large export market, especially with agriculture. All that's gone, right? The dollar was actually very strong in comparison to world currencies. Now it is not, right? So when you're saying you agree with Donald Trump's on economic policies, you're not there's nothing really to stand on with that statement. And I'm just being honest. Like, unless you just consider the stock market, but Donald Trump specifically said that the stock market isn't a good judge of the economy. He said that while Biden was president.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I could see where you're coming from. I guess at the end of the day, it's more me leaning towards the right. But honestly, the more I think about it, the more I look into it, I don't support Trump at all at this point. It's more of how I'm sorry if I have like social anxiety. It's very I'm kind of new to stuff
You're
like
fine.
this. I'm just
You're fine, man. But like I said, if you don't disagree, if you disagree with Trump, that's great, man. I'm good to have you on our side, back to reality, back to the side of democracy and morality. But I am trying to move on to somebody with that, that is a Trump supporter, right? So,
okay.
again, that's not me being rude. I'm just looking to talk to Trump supporters, not the other, not people that completely agree with me. But I hope you stick around and hang out for a bit and can listen to some conversations. Maybe
All
we
right,
can help
cool.
shore up
Yeah, I've
your
been watching
political
you for a
thoughts a
while.
little bit more. Yeah, you
Yeah,
watched me for a
I've
while.
been
Thank
enjoying
you.
it. Yeah,
I appreciate that.
no
I hope
problem.
I hope you have a good one. All right.
You too. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next guest. Keep this thing going. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. If you guys are new here, please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications if you haven't already. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh, he's a nice guy. Yeah. Hello, how are you?
What's going on?
Just hanging out, man. How old are you?
31.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
I am a Trump supporter, yes.
All right. Why is that?
Just to clarify, I'm kind of new to your page. Are you, is there anything of Trump that you do support, or are you pretty hardline on not supporting everything that he does?
It's not a
Is
matter
there
of not
anything
supporting
that-
everything that he does, sir. We can point out freaking positives with any body that ever existed. I mean, the economy flourished very hard under Hitler. It doesn't mean because I can find a good thing that happened under Hitler, I think that Hitler was a good, leader of Germany, right? So this is not about finding something that is good. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? This is my overall support for Trump is not there because he is doing things that are against the law, against the Constitution, that are morally reprehensible, that are not good for our economy and not good for us in the world stage as a whole.
Okay. I would say one of the things that Trump did that was really good for the benefit of Americans is he passed the Compassion Act, which is called the right to try, for people that have diseases with no cure, like say like cancer or something like that, that are not able to have access to the drugs via like FDA clinical trials, where through the Compassion Act, you are able to still have access to those unauthorized drugs if there's no treatment or cure for a disease or a condition that you have.
Yeah, sir. That's totally fine. I have no huge complaint with that specifically, but at the same time, he's also ripped healthcare away from like 17 million people, right? He's also taken freaking millions, if not billions, of dollars away from freaking things like cancer research, things that we can actually get, ways that we could actually, move forward to actually cure these diseases, right? So, I mean, that's a cute little drop in the bucket, but that doesn't in any way define his views towards healthcare in the United States or the health of United States citizens.
I think what he did capturing Maduro was a good benefit for the country, or maybe potentially the world as a whole.
And how's that?
Well, the government has had a bounty on him for many years, I believe, since the first Trump administration.
Why?
Because I can't say the specifics of why he was indicted in New York, but it was, I believe, due to drug trafficking, and I believe he got some gun charges on there. But overall, I think it was a good thing that he did that. I think there's a lot of people on the left that feel that he didn't do that right, or this or that, and
because he
were
didn't
dogging
do
him
anything,
for it.
sir.
But he caught Maduro, like they captured Maduro.
Caught
under
him.
his
We knew where he was at,
administration,
sir.
right? Okay,
Sir,
they
what
brought him back
good,
to New
sir?
York.
What good does it do to take away the leader of Venezuela, who's a really bad guy? Let's be very clear. Maduro's a really bad person, right? He's done, human rights violations. He stole an election, right? He's, he does do some drug trafficking, even though, that's not really a primary thing, as far as the United States is concerned. But then he removed Maduro and left in the entire rest of the regime, all the rest of the people that were still doing the same thing. So all the people that helped him traffic drugs, the same people that helped him commit, violence against his political enemies, the same people that helped him steal the election, those are all the people that are now in charge of Venezuela, right? It would be like if I really if I thought Trump was like a horrible dictator who was, committing human rights violations, right? And then I was like, we're going to remove him and put Vance in. It's like, well, Vance helped him do it. We're going to make Stephen Miller the vice president? Freaking keep it going?
Him and bringing him to the United States in itself was a good thing that he did.
No, I mean, it could have been a good thing, sir. It could have, but it's not. If he had taken out Maduro and put in a group of people, right? Well, first of all, we don't know how it's even going to work out. This just happened, right? And if we know anything from the history of regime changes that we've done in the United States, right? As far as, Libya, Iraq, there's just been so many, right?
Right.
Not one of them has really ever worked out well. Okay, I guess Panama would be the closest to working out well, right? Like, I guess kind of, but that even had a turning point 10 years later. But regardless of any of that, so we have no idea how this is going to work out in the long term. This is very, very short term. But what I do know now is the people in Venezuela aren't less oppressed now that Maduro's gone, right? There's not less drugs moving through the country because Maduro's gone, right? Everything that was happening in Venezuela is still happening in Venezuela.
Circumstantial, but yeah.
It's not circumstantial, sir, because he didn't take the regime out. He took one person
like they
out.
didn't do in Libya.
Okay. Well, there was a full regime change in Libya.
So I guess what I was my main point was multiple presidents, both Democrat and Republican, have had issues with changing the regime in a country, and obviously a lot of people had issues with Trump saying that the United States was going to run Venezuela, but we could definitively say that it was a good thing that he was indicted and brought to New York to be brought on charges, and that could be backed up by the fact that the Biden administration raised the bounty on him while they were in office.
No,
clearly showing that they had incentive to also indict him and bring him back.
Those two things have nothing to do with each other, sir. The raising of the bounty it just says that Maduro was a bad guy, and I'm not arguing with you that Maduro was a bad guy. Is a bad guy, right? He's a bad guy. He's a bad criminal. He's all of those things. Okay, but it does the world no good. It does America no good, and it does the people of Venezuela zero good. All right, to remove him from the country, leaving the entire regime in place. Okay, just to bring him up on some charges, just so Donald Trump can steal Venezuela's oil. The world is not better
Right, but
now.
we don't know how it's going to turn out yet because it's so new.
Okay, then why are you making the claim
But
that it's going to
step
turn
one-
out well?
Well, I'm not necessarily making the
You
claim
are.
that it's going to
You
turn out
literally
well.
just said it is objectively a good thing.
I said it was that the step one would be at least removing Maduro, which was a goal of the Biden administration that they did not complete. Therefore, when the Trump administration came in and they actually captured him, that would be something why I support him, because they were able to go and get him at least step one right now today.
Okay, so well, and I
Or
guess
it-
that's
it
fine,
wasn't a
sir.
bad thing.
If you're willing to ignore all precedent, right, for every single time the United States has done this and how it's negatively affected the United States, if you're willing to ignore the fact that Venezuela, the United States, and the world are no better for him being removed, right? If you're willing to ignore all, so hold
we
on,
don't
sir,
know that
sir,
yet.
sir. If you're willing to ignore all history, all precedent, all evidence, and just look into a singular vacuum and saying Maduro is being indicted is a good thing, then I guess that's fine, sir. If you're only willing to look at freaking step one and ignore everything else, then sure, it's fine, sir. But I'm sorry, maybe just my brain doesn't allow me to work like that. Okay, I
just think that both
don't give Donald
presidents-
Trump, sir. I don't give Donald Trump or any president just credit for step one. Okay, you get credit after we see how the entire thing worked out, and then we'll see whether what you did was a good thing or a bad thing. But I'm not searching to give him credit for something that we again have no idea how this is going to end up. The entire country could be in a civil war next year. Then is it good?
But as of right now, we don't know necessarily.
As of
if
right
it's
now,
good or
then
bad,
why are
but
we
at least
talking
we're
about
on
it,
the
sir?
right track?
No, we're not on the right
We're on the
track.
right
We're just
track
on
by
a
capturing
track.
them.
We're not on the right track. We're on a track. We don't know whether it was the right track because the track hasn't freaking gone down the rails yet. We won't know
But we've
whether
at
it's
least got the train on the track.
Sir, it was already on a track. Okay? It was just on one of the two tracks now.
But the Biden administration wasn't able to catch him. Now they caught
The
him. so
Biden
at least we
administration
got it
wasn't
on the
trying to
track.
catch him.
But they were, because they raised the bounty.
They have bounties on all
him.
sorts of
It-
people we're not
which
trying to
was
catch, sir.
Right, but that created a higher incentive, meaning that they wanted him more, and it's one of the highest bounties out there.
Sir. I know that your will to try to give Donald Trump credit for something that we have zero idea of what the result is. That's fine, sir. Again, I already told you. If you're just willing to give him credit for something that we have zero idea how it turns out, then that's on you. I'm not going to do it. Okay?
I think you should at least give him the credit that he.
He didn't go and get him.
captured him, right?
He didn't go and capture him. Our military did. I give them mass credit.
Okay, so you would give the military credit for doing it, and he's the leader of the military.
He's the commander in chief, but he didn't go and get them. I give credit for the
Well,
ability,
I mean,
sir.
if you were to argue like
I'm
that.
clarifying.
Okay.
Yeah, I give credit to the act of it happening because I think that that's impressive. I'll give you another example of that. I give mad credit to those B-2 pilots that went and bombed Iran, right, and hit those nuclear sites. I think that was an amazing military feat and well done. I think those pilots freaking all deserve freaking promotions and raises, and everybody who freaking planned this thing, amazing. I still think it's a negative for the world that he hit those sites, right? So like. Just because the military action itself was successful, just because the military action itself was a good thing, doesn't mean that Donald Trump doesn't. I don't care that Donald Trump can tell his military to go do something awesome. Every president has always done that. All right. I care whether it was a good decision for the
Subjectively.
U.S. and the world, and we don't know that answer.
Right. I was just more so trying to say that at least the sole fact that they were able to capture him shows that, okay, at least they did one thing that we've been trying to accomplish. Like when, capturing, say, bin Laden, it's the same thing. Once they got him, we didn't have a regime change yet, but it was still a good thing that we caught him.
How do you know that freaking the reason the Biden administration didn't go and get them is because they didn't have a suitable replacement and they were afraid that the freaking Venezuela was going to fall into economic crisis if they removed him.
The name of the game of politics. People say things.
No, so therefore
it's
a good thing therefore it was a good thing we didn't go and get him. That's actually a better thing.
Circumstantial, because we really
what
never be able to
what if
pinpoint that.
what if Donald Trump removing him freaking causes Venezuela to go into an economic crisis or a social crisis or causes mass executions or causes a freaking revolt or causes freaking South America to completely push towards our adversary nations? All of these things are
I guess
all
the example
very,
I would
very
give
big.
is people protesting out in front of the jail where Maduro is to free Maduro. I don't see that as a smart thing to do.
I don't care
I
about
think
what
that's sending
those
the wrong
people are
message.
fucking protesting. Okay, you can't free him now. He's already gone, right? That would be dumb.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Sir, again, when
I
we
think
when we
that
talk
the
about when we
GD
talk about foreign policy, sir, you cannot think about it in this very narrow vacuum of just like this one tiny action is good or bad and ignore all of everything else that could or could not possibly happen, right? It's like when Donald Trump gets like all this credit for the ceasefire in Israel, right? The ceasefire between Israel and Palestine, right? He gets all this credit. Okay. Well, no, there is no lasting peace deal. There is no two-state solution. There is none of the things that we actually need for this to last long term yet. Okay. If that happens in the future and this turns into a long-term peace deal, then yes, absolutely Trump gets credit for it. Right. But you don't just
think
get
people
credit
are jumping
for
the
one.
gun to be angry because, like you said,
No,
it still
you're
takes,
jumping the gun to give
many
him
years
credit.
to see the...
I'm not angry. I'm just not giving him credit for something I don't have information on. You are. You're the one jumping the gun, man, not me.
Well, I was at step one, for example. With
And
the
again,
Maduro
you
thing,
don't
and I was
give
at
the
step one with the
again, sir.
Gaza.
Sir. Like, guess what? If you're an addict, step one is admit you have a problem. Okay?
Which would be a good thing.
It would be a good thing. Okay? Does that mean you're still an addict or no? Yep, you're still an addict. You're still using.
Okay.
All of the negatives still exist. Okay? Nothing changed except for step one where you admitted you had a problem. Okay? And yes, while that's fine, I'm glad you admitted you had a problem. You're still an addict. Right? We still have a shit ton of work to do. Okay, before we get anywhere, right? That's what this
So
is.
I guess my response would be I wouldn't want to be negative about step one.
Sir, nobody was negative or positive. Well, sorry, you're positive about it. I'm neutral about it. I'm just not negative or positive. And you're trying to convince me to be positive.
Well, I think that wasn't at the point of the show, right? Or, the podcast, right? I mean, to find
Nope.
reasons to be positive. Like, I would say another thing would be the national murder rate has gone down.
According to who?
I couldn't give you the exact government studies, but I'm sure you could pull it up online on your end. I mean, it's a .gov report.
A .gov report doesn't mean anything to me, sir.
Because you're worried that the numbers could have been fabricated, even though it's a .gov
Sir,
report.
BLS is a .gov. They just put out freaking economic numbers where they just didn't include over 80% of the data and then just told us numbers. Freaking Kristi Noem on her .gov website said that freaking Renee Good was a domestic terrorist. Okay,
So let me ask you this: with the national murder rate going down from, we'll say, what I saw, where would you look to find that information to validate if that was true?
I'm not even sure right now, sir, to be completely honest with you, because it's really hard to trust anything that's coming out of our government because they lie so much. So I'm really not sure where I would find that, sir. But
So
if you
we just-
have
that would
some,
just have to
if
be
you have a set of
left as,
data,
like, a neutral
sir,
point.
if you have a set of data that I can look at, I'll be more than happy to take a look at it and see if it meets the qualification for reliable data. I have no problem with that.
I believe suicides were also down year over year during the Trump administration. Whether it's what is the reason, I don't think we could necessarily pinpoint that, but at least as a country as a whole, the way the people have gained from it is that or even from an economic standpoint, I think I would assume, you're operating this podcast under a small business. So I think you would be able to receive tax benefits from operating your business that you may pay a lower tax bill this year or, receive more back. But that would be a benefit you and I, as average Americans, have received from this.
Yeah,
the
but
Trump
sir, the
administration.
tax rate doesn't affect me unless there's positives outside of that, right? I just have the ability to think well past myself.
But you would have more items that you could use as a write-off.
So what?
Well, you benefit from that because you net more money at the end
Okay,
of
so
the
what
year.
am I losing by freaking not paying those taxes?
You're not losing anything. That's my point. That's a good thing that Trump
Well,
did.
sir,
is he
sir,
allowed you
if-
to retain more money in your pocket
Sir,
at
well-
the end of the year because of the write-off.
Government spending is at an all-time high. And if I'm getting a tax write-off and a whole bunch of other people are, that means it's a lot of money not going to the government and spending is still higher. So we have to lose something. That's just not how budgets work, sir.
So you would be okay with them raising the tax rate on you?
If
and
I
everybody
benefited
else?
up from it, absolutely. If the greater good in
But
America
that
benefited
you would
from
never,
it, yeah.
you would not see the benefit instantaneously. That would take several years, potentially after even Trump's out of office, before you saw that benefit.
Possibly, yeah.
Because it's an arbitrary benefit.
Yeah. Possibly.
But as
Yeah.
in,
Like,
I'm
I would
looking at,
gladly
the day
pay-
and now,
sir, like, I
everyday
would
average
gladly-
Americans have to go to the grocery store.
Yeah, they
So
are, and they're paying
They're
higher
benefiting
prices.
because now there are several items at the grocery stores that have gone down in price in the last 6 to 12 months.
Sir, I'm not
6 to 12
talking about
months.
several items. Grocery prices as a whole are significantly higher, right? And Donald Trump's tariffs
But you
are
would,
caught.
during the last
Sir,
administration,
sir,
you would agree that they
sir,
went up as well.
Sir, may I?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And sir, the reason why grocery prices are so much higher is because Donald Trump has implemented broad-reaching tariffs on so many of the grocery products that we have. And so therefore, we're actually paying a tax. So while yes, you might receive a little bit more money in your tax return, you actually paid well more than that if you just went grocery shopping all year last year in
Right,
taxes.
but those goods haven't landed in the United
Yes,
States
they have.
yet, so they haven't technically affected you.
Yes, they have.
Well, most of the companies have backstock inventory.
Incorrect. 96%
they're-
of the tariffs that the money that has gone to pay tariffs have been paid by American citizens this year. And Donald Trump is touting that to be hundreds of billions of dollars.
Right, but you haven't necessarily paid that good if a company
we
has
have.
already imported the good prior to the tariff.
Yes, we have.
Right, because like Apple, say for example, they bought tons of iPhones. The tariffs on the iPhones exist now.
Donald
but yet
Trump
you
dropped
don't
the
pay more
tariffs
for
on the iPhone. Donald Trump dropped the tariffs on the iPhone after Tim Cook handed him a gold brick. Tim Cook went to the
Right, okay.
White House, gave him a gold brick, and then Donald Trump said tariffs don't apply to iPhones anymore.
I mean, if you want to say it's that simple, go ahead. But
It's not what I'm saying. I mean,
think-
it's literally on video of literally Tim Cook literally handing him a gold brick. And then the next day, the news reports, oh, Trump decided no more tariffs on iPhones anymore. Like, it was that simple.
what did he do with
But-
that gold brick?
He put it
Like,
in
did he
his
pocket
pocket,
that
I
personally?
assume. Yeah, of course he did. He pockets
So the
everything.
government, the fact that he didn't claim that, the government would just look a blind eye that he received a bunch of gold and didn't claim
So
it.
he received a $400 million jet and the government looked a blind eye. He has literally
But
tripled.
He didn't. The government did.
He did.
It's not his personal jet when he leaves
The
office. He's
Donald
not taking
Trump
that jet with
can't
him.
accept a gift from another country for the government. That's against the Constitution.
The government could accept the gift.
And which part of the government can accept the gift?
Which part of the I don't know.
That would be the legislature. And since Congress has not accepted the gift and only Donald Trump has accepted the gift, then the gift belongs to Donald Trump and not to the government. Donald Trump doesn't
So
have
you're
that
saying
ability.
when Donald Trump leaves, he takes that jet with him?
He already said he's adding it to his presidential library. So yes.
And does the president own the presidential library privately?
It's not going to any type of government use.
But does the presidential library own?
Sir,
by
are you saying
private
that the
individual?
government received a jet that only Donald Trump will ever be able to use? Is that your argument?
That seems to be how you were portraying what you were.
No,
trying to
sir.
say.
I am portraying it as Donald Trump broke the emoluments
otherwise-
clause by taking bribes, and that's not the only one.
Well, you said he didn't claim it.
Sir, how about the money that freaking the CEO of Binance paid him and freaking into his crypto company in order to get a pardon? Sir, Donald Trump has tripled his net worth since being president.
Well, let me ask you about that. So he was a billionaire prior to being in office. I mean, I don't know if you agree with that or not, but we'll say he was worth hundreds of millions of dollars maybe prior to him entering office.
Sure.
So I would assume potentially, just like you, he has a 401k or some type of brokerage account, right?
You think he tripled or quadrupled his net worth to the tune of $1.4 trillion in a 401k?
Well, I guess you could have anything. Like if he had Bitcoin in his 401k,
Man,
then potentially
I
he
need
could
to
have
know
more
where to
than
get that type
quadrupled.
of 401k. Because if I can get a 401k,
Well, a
okay,
401k
that
is not a
turns
specific item.
that turns literally like a couple $100 million into 1.4 trillion in a matter of about a year, then I think we all need to be in that 401k.
Well,
That's just
like for
impressive.
example, True Social would be a part of that net worth, right?
Technically, he should divest that also. Sir, we
That he
know
should
that
not be allowed to have
literally, sir, literally, okay, the freaking the Qataris gave him a jet, and then Donald Trump gave them access to like U.S. military bases. Like literally, the Saudis donated to his freaking private crypto fund.
Are the Saudis
Okay,
an ally of
so
ours?
sir, I don't care if it was freaking England or Canada. They are donating to the president's private crypto. Do you not have an
I'm
issue
sorry,
with
I
that?
missed that. I missed that tip. But you said that they donated to his private crypto, and that's how
Yes.
the Saudis were able to have that base.
Dude, they're getting
Or the
all sorts of
Qataris?
different. That's how freaking Tim Cook got the tariffs off. They're literally handing him money. He is giving them favors.
But how would? But
Okay.
he would have to claim that money. Otherwise, he could not receive that
You have to
money.
claim it where?
As a person of the United States, citizen of the United States,
Then
he
show
cannot
me where he
receive a
did
gift
it.
like that. Well, if he didn't, then he would either be arrested
By
because
who?
that's illegal.
By who? The Supreme Court has already said that he has broad immunity. Arrested for what?
Well, so you disagree with the Supreme Court decision, but that is what they ruled on. So
Sir,
that's the law of the
sir,
land. Like
sir.
we can't argue that.
It's not a matter of that. Who's going to arrest him if he has immunity?
Who would? So you're saying that he could do any crime and he would be found not guilty? He could go kill somebody right now and he would be found not guilty?
Well,
Or
they
he
would
could
have
not
to
be-
impeach
charges
him, and the
could not be brought up?
Republican Congress isn't going to
Okay,
impeach
so-
him.
So if he didn't claim something that he received that was a gift over $15,000 or $20,000,
Is this a fucking
then
joke, dude?
but then he would have to disclose that. I mean, there's no denying that.
Is this
So
is this a joke, sir?
I mean, I'm trying to say what
No,
the fact is
I
that
don't
you
I
have
don't
to
I
claim a
don't I
gift.
don't think you understand, sir. We can
You're
prove,
saying he took it, but you can't say where it is.
sir. We can prove that he's taken all of this stuff, and he hasn't claimed
But can
a dollar.
Can you actually prove it?
Yes. He brags about
where-
it. He
where-
talks about
okay,
it
where-
out of his own mouth. It happens on video. What are you talking about?
So what wallet would the crypto be held in right now? Trump's private wallet?
Is this a joke, dude? He does it on video. Are you
Okay, so
kidding
where
me?
would the crypto
Sir,
be held
we
in
can
his
literally
private wallet?
see where this money freaking literally is invested by freaking like I said, whatever his name is from Binance, right? Literally invest the money in a crypto fund, okay, that is ran currently by the Trump organization under Don Jr. and whoever, I guess, is it Kushner that's running that thing? And then literally a week later, the guy gets a pardon.
And I'm not saying I don't know enough about that. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but my thing that I had an issue with is if you were saying they donated crypto to Trump, it wasn't actually put in his crypto wallet per se, so he doesn't necessarily have his hands on that crypto that he took it.
Sir,
It's not
this
a
is
gift. Same
this
with
is
the plane,
this
like,
is
it's not-
absolutely wild, sir. You are literally claiming to me right now, okay, that if Donald Trump's literal family, okay, has an entire crypto that isn't worth shit, right? And then all of a sudden,
as a private entity.
sure, as a private entity under the Trump organization, okay, and then we have people that have no business investing in it whatsoever, putting literally hundreds of millions of dollars into this crypto, and
But
then
that happens on both
and then
sides of the
directly
red and
after,
blue.
sir, and then directly after receives benefit directly from the president of the United States, and you're like, well, he didn't directly touch it with his hands, so it's all good. Sir, you can stick your head in the ground in the sand on that one all you want, okay? But that is a literal joke of an argument.
I would say also that the border crossings that are not at points of entry has gone down significantly since Biden.
Wow. How does your neck feel after that pivot? Are you okay? Do you have whiplash?
As long as I'm still, I'm trying.
Are you sure? That was the fastest pivot I've ever seen in my entire life.
Don't want to, get down too far of a rabbit hole. But I would say that the border crossings are definitely lower under the Trump administration.
You're right, they are. The border crossings
So that's
are
a good
the
thing.
border encounters are lower. The border apprehensions are down. We don't particularly know
So
if the border.
that's a good thing,
Why?
right?
Why?
Well, because I think everybody should enter at least at a port of entry.
Border entry, freaking
It's
is
port
way
of
down at
entry.
ports of entry. Incredibly down. It's almost
Well, I
completely
mean,
stopped.
Doesn't matter whether it's up or down. I'm just saying I don't think they should cross other places other than at a port of entry.
Sir, all you're
Right,
saying
they
is that
shouldn't just-
border encounters are down. You don't know what's happening outside of the ports of entry. Donald Trump has done nothing to really improve that.
Well, wouldn't those be considered the encounters?
No, encounters happen at ports of entry consistently. The majority of your
that's those-
encounters happen at ports of entry.
But all the people that were, people will say illegally were crossing at places that were not a port of entry. That seems pretty evident that that's not happening as
Sure.
much as it was before.
What
That's a good
evidence
thing
do you
that
have
they
of
did with
that?
The border Are you saying it's not the case? Are you saying there's more?
I'm
people
not
crossing at
saying
the
that you said it's
borders now
evident.
than there
So,
were in the Biden
sir,
administration?
sir, I didn't say whether I agreed with it or not. You said it's evident. I was wondering what the evidence is.
Okay, I would say I feel as a Trump supporter that he has lowered the amount of people that have crossed the border at places that are not the port of entry compared to the Biden administration. And I think we could agree that that's a good thing.
Okay, cool. So that's not evidence. That's your feelings. Okay, you said it was evident, so I was asking for evidence. Okay, if you don't have
Could we
evidence,
look
then
it
it's
up,
just
or
your.
is that another stat? Could we look it up, or is that another stat?
Where
like
do
the
we look
murder
this
rate,
up,
where we're
sir?
not
We
gonna
don't-
find the right answer.
So we don't get yearly freaking estimations on the amount of undocumented immigrants in the country for long after freaking the beginning of the year. We probably won't see the actual numbers on undocumented immigrants that are in the United States
So
currently
you're
until
saying that
somewhere
the
around June or
Department
July.
of Homeland Security hasn't released any information on the number of border
Oh,
crossings in the last year?
They've released all sorts of information, sir, but I don't just trust the
And-
Department of Homeland Security. Again,
So you're
sir,
saying there's
the
no
Department of
information
Homeland
that's
Security
accessible
called
to
Alex
show?
Preddy a domestic terrorist who had reached out to commit violence. Do you believe that?
I was not informed on the Alex Peretti
The guy,
case. I was
the
out of
young,
town.
the gentleman who
I
was.
would say the Renee Good one is an interesting.
I'm not asking
scenario,
about
though,
Renee Good,
because-
sir. Stay on topic. The gentleman who
Okay.
was disarmed and shot in the back. They said he was a domestic terrorist who was going out to commit violence, even though he never reached for his weapon. Do you believe that?
I can't say I agree with everything.
But
if that's what
but the
they said.
Department of Homeland Security said it, sir. And if the if the Department
I
of
guess my question would be:
no, sir.
is there
The question
anywhere
is
that-
not
go ahead,
time
go
for
ahead.
your question yet.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. You are making the statement that because the Department of Homeland Security says it, it has to be true. Okay. I
did
am
not say
giving
that.
you
I
an
said that they have
example.
released information.
Okay, so where have they released information? So they've released numbers on border encounters, right? Which they say are down. I agree with that number. I agree.
That's a
I
good
agree
thing,
that it's
though.
down. I agree that they said that apprehensions are down at the southern border. I also agree
Which is
with
another
that.
good thing.
Sir, I'm not saying whether it's a good or a bad thing. I'm saying that they released those
But I feel like
numbers,
you're not
and
saying
I'm
it's a
saying,
good
sir,
thing.
why do you not want me to say anything?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Are you like frustrated right now or something?
How a debate works.
No, a debate works when you start talking when I'm finished, not when you're talking while I'm talking. Yeah. So again, sir, they release numbers on border encounters. Those are down. I 100% agree that those are probably down, right? I don't know the exact numbers, but I agree that they're probably down. They're saying apprehensions are down. I also agree with that. I bet you that they are significantly down. They have literally criminalized asylum seeking, so those numbers are way down. I completely agree with that, okay? Tourist numbers are down. Immigration numbers are down as a whole. All of those numbers exist. Okay. And I believe them. But none of those numbers are the people who have gotten into the United States outside of ports of entry. That number doesn't exist. Okay. And I've looked. All right. So if you have that number, right, and you can show me where it exists, all right, then that's fine. If not, it's just your feelings and it's not a real number.
Well, I would, again, so you're saying that there's nowhere that shows people that have crossed at border crossings that were, apprehended at a not at a port of entry. We don't have any information
That
on
were
that.
apprehended? Yes.
And the apprehensions are down, correct?
What? That doesn't tell me anything, sir.
It seems like people would be less willing to go across the border because they know they're going to be apprehended.
That I agree with you
Don't
on.
allow. So that's a good thing, though, if that's what
I don't
believe
agree with
they
that. That's
support.
sir. Again, why do you keep going back to a good thing? We're talking about data here, okay? No, the number of apprehensions being down in between ports of entry does not mean that the amount of people coming across those ports of entry is down. It just means that we're catching less of them, okay? Or we're catching all of them. We don't know, okay? We don't know if we're catching way less people in between ports of entry because Donald Trump has half of the border patrol in Minnesota. I don't know that answer. Okay, I don't know if.
But under the Biden administration, if that applies, then they just let millions of people in the country, and they don't know where they're at because we don't know that number. So we could potentially say that more than one of them is a violent criminal.
I can say that more than one of the people crossing right now is a violent criminal.
Right, but we're doing a better job of lowering that risk.
You don't know that. Maybe 100% of the people that are coming over are now just the violent criminals. Maybe the innocent people that are afraid of being sent to detention centers and concentration camps and being deported to countries not theirs, maybe those are the people that stopped coming, and maybe all the people, the cartel members who aren't afraid of all of that are the people that are all coming.
And you don't think they were coming during Biden's?
Of course they were.
So I guess the main thing is that we want less people crossing the border, and I think
Why?
I guess why do we want less people crossing the border?
Uh-huh.
That without us knowing?
Hold on, you didn't say that. You said without us knowing. Yeah, sure, sir. I want less people crossing in between ports of entry, but we don't have that number. We don't know that that's existing. We can make assumptions about that happening, but the only assumption that we can make, right, is that less people are crossing the border in general because they are in fear, because literally people are getting sent to concentration camps and killed inside those concentration camps, right? And that makes people afraid. And if we have to freaking put people in concentration camps and literally murder them in order to stop people from coming across the border, then no, I don't find that as a good thing whatsoever.
No, that would be an extreme accusation.
That's not an accusation. We know that that's happened multiple times already.
But maybe to one person, but to say that that's happening to everybody that's being deported.
I didn't say that it happened to everyone that's deported there. I'm saying the likelihood of you being sent to a concentration camp and then being killed in that concentration camp is significantly up. And therefore, there are less people that are coming across the border because that is not a good trade-off for me, sir. I don't want people to be terrorized. I don't want people to be beat up, attacked in their homes, have their children systematically ripped away from them, people being sent to concentration camps or torture prisons in El Salvador, right? I don't want any of that.
And no way that you have definitive data on that. No way.
I do have definitive data on everything I just said. Can I finish my sentence?
You have definitive data.
I have definitive data on all of that. May I finish my sentence now?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. If all of those horrible things have to happen in order for us to reduce people coming in this country between ports of entry, then I'd rather them come. Okay. Because I care a lot more about humanity. I care a lot more about human beings, that they're not being tortured, that they're not being killed, that they're not being put in concentration camps. I care a lot more that that's not happening than I care about people coming across the border.
I'll ask you from this perspective then. So because we don't want person A, who is an illegal immigrant that crosses, gets deported back, we'll say they go to an El Salvador prison and get killed. We'll call it that. Then we would rather trade that off to save that guy's life and let somebody else that's an illegal in, who could potentially, as a person in our country illegally, kill somebody that's a U.S. citizen. You would rather pick that out.
Hold on, sir.
If they
Are
were
you
one for
making
one.
the claim, okay, that because someone is here without documentation, they are more likely to kill someone? Because I'll let you know. Because I'll let you know right now, the stats don't agree with you on that. Then why are you making that claim, sir? Because undocumented immigrants, undocumented immigrants in this country commit violent crime in the United States at a rate 30 times less than American citizens do. So the truth of the matter is, if you let more undocumented immigrants in, they are less likely to commit crimes than your American neighbors that are right next to you right now.
These are the ones at the port of entry, because we don't.
No,
have the
sir.
data
This
from
is
the other
just
ones.
undocumented immigrants. And
Right,
yes,
but
we
I
do
mean,
have that data.
So we have the data of the ones that snuck in and we didn't catch,
Yeah.
which could potentially be the ones that are more violent.
Right, but they're not more violent because, again, what I just told you, sir, is they commit a violent crime at a rate 30 times less than American citizens.
But you couldn't say that they commit a rate at 30%
Yes, I can.
or 30 times less.
Yes, I can.
Because if they cross the border at not a port of entry and nobody catches them, you have no data on that person at all.
We know that they're here.
We don't, because how can we pinpoint whether it's one
Sir,
person or two
sir, it
persons?
is not hard. We estimate the amount of undocumented immigrants in this country every single year. Currently, over our last data, it's about 14 million. Give or take a million or so each way. Well, the 14 million is kind of the high point. It's really between like 12 and 14 million. Right? So we have an estimation on the amount of undocumented immigrants that are in this country. Right? And then we have the
ones that came to a port of entry and
no, sir,
also
sir. If it was the ones that came to port of entry, it wouldn't be an estimation.
Okay, valid point.
Okay, this is the amount of people that we can based off of a freaking 100,000 or whatever freaking pieces of data that we can extrapolate from and see how many undocumented immigrants came in. Right, like we saw about 4 million, 3 to 4 million come in under the Biden administration. Right, quite a bit. Right. And that's an estimation, right? We don't know exactly, right? But it's about that number, right? And then we can take the amount of, of violent crimes that happen due to undocumented immigration, and then we can apply it to those to the low numbers and the high numbers of those estimations, and then we can get a data set. Okay.
So let me clarify that. We had 3 or 4 million that are coming in under the Biden administration. We don't really know that they came in, so it's an estimated number, correct?
Yeah.
That's okay. So would you say has an estimated number come out under the Trump administration?
Nope.
That
I
number
already
is less?
said that. That's why I asked you where you were getting your numbers from, because I said that data hasn't come out yet.
If that number did come out less, that would be a good thing he's doing.
I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing at all. No. I already explained why I don't think it's a good thing.
Even though any of these people could be up to anything. And
Sure,
we have no
anybody
idea what
in the
they're up
United
to.
States could be up to anything. I assume that,
partially.
sir, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you're a white male.
That's very divisive to say.
I'm asking you a question. I'm not saying it divisively. I'm just asking.
I would say that's irrelevant and potentially not true.
Sir, I know it's potentially not true. That's why I'm asking the question, sir. I'm just asking you, okay?
I don't think it's.
I don't know why you're so, sir. Okay, so you are. If you weren't, then you would have already responded in the negative. Okay, so that's pretty simple. All right. So
Asian,
what I am
but
saying,
okay.
sir, you would have already responded in the negative if it wasn't true. So therefore, if you're that defensive about it, then the answer is yes. Okay. So regardless, I don't need your
I
opinion
just think
anymore.
it's funny how people bring
Sir-
it up, even though I am Asian, but it's like you bring it up and you say it in a way like it's a negative thing.
I didn't
but
say it as a negative or positive thing. I asked you a question, sir. If I ask you a question and you take it as a negative, then that's on you, not me.
Okay, so if I was a white male, what would?
It doesn't matter whether you're a white male or not. I don't care anymore. It wasn't that serious of a question.
Okay.
You could have just said yes or no, and we could have been gone past this. It literally was not anything personal, nothing for you to get defensive about. But the fact that you got so defensive about it is kind of telling, to be completely honest with you.
I don't think it should
Okay.
be brought up in politics. That's why.
I don't care what you think.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks. Appreciate that. So in the United States, for someone as a white male like yourself, right, is much more likely and commits the overwhelming majority of freaking, child sex crimes in the United States. Right? Why am I not freaking criminalizing and being so afraid of white males in this country? Because they do most of the child sex crimes in the United States. That's not immigrants. That's not, it's not black people. It's not women. It's not any of that, right? It's simply white males. But we don't hold on, sir. But we don't do this thing where we go, oh, all white males are bad. We need to protect ourselves from all white males, right? Because they commit the majority of this crime. Yet for some reason, right, when immigrants commit a violent crime at a rate that's 30 times less, all right, than American citizens do, I'm still supposed to criminalize immigrants in my head, right? And that doesn't make any sense. That's what fascists do, right? That's called scapegoating, right? Sir, I'm still talking.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. That's what fascists do, right? This is exactly what they did in Germany, right? Where they took a certain group of people, a certain population, and they blamed all the world's problems on that population, even though statistically they weren't the problem, right? And that's exactly what you're doing right now. You're taking this immigrant population, you're trying to fearmonger everyone. Oh, one of them could be a criminal. Yeah.
That's not
100%. One of them could be. I'm not scared of the whole population due to that. Oh, one of them could commit a violent crime. Yeah, one of them could. But for every one of them that does that, there's 30 American citizens that do the same thing per capita. All right?
But for
so that's why
national
I'm just
security
not.
purpose, it would be better to know who's crossing than not.
For
in
national
estimating.
security
For
purposes,
national-
it would technically be better to get rid of freaking the entire right wing of the political party because they commit over 70% of the political violence.
Come on. Well, so you said about white
The Department
male, or,
the
I'm
Department
sorry,
of
you said
Justice
white?
released right there that the over 70% of the political violence
Is that a
in
Trump
the United
administration?
States, yes,
Is that it?
came out
Trump
like 4 months
administration?
ago.
And they said what?
That over 70% of the political violence that is committed in the United States comes from the right.
So you would say that the Department of Justice's data is accurate, but not the Department of Homeland Security.
Well, you know how I know. You know how I know it's accurate.
Administration?
You know how I know it's accurate
How?
because they released it, and the second that the Trump administration found out about it, they retracted it. But unfortunately, we'd already seen it.
Opinionated. But you said white crime, white. I don't know if you said male or not, but white crime is higher than black crime. Is that correct?
That's not even in the ballpark of what I said. That wasn't even on the same plan. I don't think that was in the same universe of what I
Get me
just
back
said.
into the same universe.
That's
of what you said, just so
that's
I can understand
crazy. That's a wild thing to say.
Could you get me back into the right universe of what you said so I could better understand?
Maybe you should just listen more, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, sir. I'm not going to make an argument. Again, I don't want to go into an entire race argument. I didn't want
But
to. I was.
what did you say about the murder rate? I just wanted to clarify that.
We weren't talking about the murder rate.
But you mentioned that violent
We haven't.
crime.
No one's mentioned the
We're-
murder rate in 20 minutes. I don't know what you're talking about.
A minute ago when we were talking, you said something related to violent crimes being higher under with white males.
Also, not
Or
what I
white,
said.
don't remember. That's what I'm trying to clarify so I could better understand what you did say. But
Sure. But you see, here's where I get kind of tired of the conversation. Okay. Because I tried to make that point like 3 times, and every single time you cut me off. And now you're asking me to repeat myself when you could have just let me speak my point from the get-go. And and then we wouldn't be in this predicament to begin with. All right. But you were so concerned, all right, with trying to respond to the first 4 words that I say every time that now you have no idea what's going on or what we're talking about. All right.
It's a lot of
and that leads to it wasn't a lot of information, sir. It was
information.
literally 1 point that I was making. It was literally 1. Okay.
But you're not gonna clarify what it was?
No, what I'm going to say again, sir, is that if you want to talk about violence that is bad for national security, then we should look at the right. We should look at 70% of violent crime or political crime that happens in the United States coming from the right. We should look at things like January 6th and the violence that was committed there, and then Donald Trump pardoned them, right? Or if we want to look at drugs or anything like that, the people that Donald Trump pardoned when it came to things like that, right? Or the fact that he won't release the Epstein files, literally covering up for child sex traffickers, right? Well, I'm sorry, you're just going to have a really hard time convincing me that I should be afraid of immigrants, okay, when Donald Trump is literally covering up for freaking, like the largest sex trafficking ring that's ever happened in the United States, and not even being.
Do you know who the judge is in the Epstein case for releasing the files?
Sir, there's already been a
I
law
believe
passed
it's
by
James
the legislature.
Comey's daughter.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with a judge, sir. A bipartisan Congress
I'm sorry,
passed
the
legislation,
Epstein case.
sir. A bipartisan Congress passed a law saying that they had to have been released. So therefore, Donald Trump is currently against the law, okay, by not releasing those files. It has nothing to do with the judge whatsoever. Okay, nothing to do. So stop trying to turn it on some type of judge, which, by the way, it's not James Comey's daughter that's the judge. That's a lie. But regardless of that, okay, stop trying to change it on the judge and take it on the one person and only the one person who is deciding that these things are not being released, and it is Donald Trump. Period.
I would agree that he's not. The Epstein file is a disappointment in his administration. I think that I can't. Obviously, nobody knows whether it's what the reason is, but I think to some degree, every administration is kind of at fault at that. Biden as well.
I'm not talking about every administration, sir. I'm talking about this one. And the only reason I'm talking about it, sir, is because you are trying to scapegoat and demonize and fearmonger against immigrants. And I am just reminding you.
I'm not. I just think we should have a better tab on
And I am just
national
reminding you.
security
And I'm just
purposes.
reminding you that the president that you support is a felon and an adjudicated rapist.
But you would agree that for national security, it would be better to know who's coming in the country.
For national security, sure, whatever. I think it's just better to freaking have better ports of entry and more ability for people to come here so we can track them better. And I think that's always good. Okay.
So James Comey's daughter was the lead federal prosecutor involved in the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
You just told me a second ago she was the judge. Which one is it?
I misspoke, so I wanted to clarify.
Well, there's a big difference between a judge and a prosecutor.
But you would say that's pretty eye-opening that James Comey's daughter, the FBI agent who was, involved in several things both ways.
No, I
But
just
James
think it's
Comey's
weird
daughter-
that the Justice Department won't release the files. That's what I think is weird. I don't think it's weird
And
that
James Comey's daughter
I don't think it's weird that James Comey's daughter is a federal prosecutor. Sounds like he raised a
for
good
that
daughter.
specific case. You don't think that might be a little bit of a conflict
She's not even on the case
in
anymore.
the case? But she was a federal prosecutor in the case.
Yeah, and they
You can't
fired her.
deny that.
And they fired her. And the Epstein files still
They-
aren't released.
Are
So
you
maybe we
certain
should
that,
stop trying to blame James Comey's daughter?
I think there's a little bit of a conflict of interest. I think it's at least both sides could mutually agree that it's not a good thing.
No,
to have.
both sides aren't agreeing on anything. Your side is protecting
Right,
child sex traffickers, and my side wants them to release so they're not protected. That's the end of this conversation. Okay, the end of this conversation is your side's protecting them. My side wants justice for the victims. That's all. End of conversation. Nope, no more. I don't care who the prosecutor is or the judge is or whose daughter went to law school or whether there was a bailiff or a clerk that that might have been related to Clinton or something. I don't give a
But
shit
you
about.
should, because that's a
No, I
conflict of
don't.
interest.
It is not a conflict of interest because none of that has to do with the fact, okay, that Trump could have the files released tomorrow. Donald Trump's the only person that could have the files released tomorrow. And Donald Trump is the only person stopping those files from being released tomorrow. No prosecutor, no judge, no legislators, no one in this country is stopping that from being released except for him. Period. Point blank. One person only in this
Did Biden
entire
have that same
planet.
capability?
I don't give a fuck whether Biden had the capability. There is one person right now who has the power. It is Donald Trump. Can you understand what is going on in my
I'm
like, can you
agreeing
hear?
with you that I don't think it's a
Okay,
good thing.
well
but I
then you
think
should
to say
stop
that
fucking defending it. Now
to
I'm
not-
moving on to somebody less, I don't know, that actually wants to be genuine in a conversation, okay?
I would say that
That wasn't a question for me to, like, that wasn't a, I wasn't requesting that I'm moving on. I was letting you know I was giving you a chance to say goodbye. Y'all, please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really, really appreciate you guys. We do this 6-7 days a week or so. If you guys would like to support, I do have super chats, super stickers, all that fun stuff going on. Memberships like Nuancy right here just became a member. So if you'd like to become a member, or if you'd like to, send super chats or any of that fun stuff, we really appreciate you. And then every once in a while, I'll just throw them up on the screen like this, and maybe I'll get a chance to talk about them. But nope, definitely not a deal breaker for them. Definitely not a deal breaker. But be afraid of the migrants, y'all. Be afraid of the migrants. That's what you should be worried about. That's what you should be worried about, guys. The scary migrants. Oh no, there's brown people coming into the country. Terrifying for them. Thank you so much, Betty. This is Melania's movie post-credit scene or the Epstein files. That would be the only way that I would actually go watch that movie. That is literally the only way I would ever go watch that movie. just straight up. Thank you so much, Cruz. Was there any other one? This guy keeps asking me to ask. He just keeps asking the host things. Like, why don't you just come call in and you can ask me whatever you want? Okay. Why don't you just call the phone and you can ask me whatever you want? There's 2 questions. Okay. These are not Pass. Thank you so much for becoming a super fan. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Also, I'm trying to clear this little live gift goal over here if anybody would like to help support. You can just call and ask them myself. All right. Those are very complicated questions. You can't just ask those real quick over there. I'm calling, it's not working. No, my phone line only works when I'm not on the phone with somebody. So it'll work now as soon as I turn it back on. Amy, thank you so much. I didn't pass the CBP lie detector test. The question was if I know terrorists. I said no, I lied, Putin and others. If you can't pass the CBP's or the CBP's lie detector test, then you're in trouble because they're not even looking at it. And thank you so much, Joe. I really appreciate that also. Again, y'all, please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for the super chats and the support and the gifts too. I see that Stephanie and all the people that sent over there. I really appreciate you guys. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good.
Awesome. How old are you?
22.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Yeah.
Awesome. Why is that?
Economy's up, borders closed, inflation's down, peace across the world. 8 wars ended.
Cool. Which 8 wars?
Sorry?
Which 8 wars? Hold on. You're gonna say 7, 8 of them. So I don't have my notebook with me. That's okay. I can pull up a notepad so I make sure that I take notes. I don't want to miss any. Okay. So let's see. Dude, I gotta add this one real quick. Add a note. All right. Add note. All right. Which 8 wars? Can we get started?
1 second.
Oh, he's claiming 8 wars, and now sir, if you wanted me to just Google it, I could have Googled it myself. Okay, I didn't need you to Google it for me. You made a positive claim saying that there was 8 wars. You don't know any of them?
Okay, do I need to remember them by name, by heart?
If you're claiming he made 8 wars, you should be at least able to name a few of them. Yeah.
Israel, Iran, Pakistan, India, Rwanda.
Okay, you can't just name countries, sir. You're gonna have to say who was fighting who.
Israel was fighting Iran. Pakistan was fighting India.
Okay, okay, cool. Let's take those 2 to start. Okay, so Israel bombed Iran. Iran fought back, and then the United States bombed Iran, right? And they stopped. The whole thing was 12 days that it started under the Trump administration. So you're giving Donald Trump credit for ending a war that was only 12 days long that started under his watch 12 days prior. That's the big one you're giving him credit for.
Oh yeah, are you saying he started it so it shouldn't count?
I'm saying it was 12 days. That's not even a freaking conflict.
Well, I don't know if you know, but there is a bit more history to that. It's not just those 12 days that.
Yeah, and they're still
know.
threatening each other right now. Because if you're saying that's the end of the conflict between
Yeah,
Iran
but-
and
but
Israel,
his
then it's nowhere
administration
near
is the one
over,
that's
sir.
His administration is the one that's preventing them from, doing something more serious.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
did,
that's just
did
your
Israel
opinion.
did Israel
I-
did
that's
Israel
fine.
attack Iran during the Biden administration?
I don't remember. I don't recall.
Oh, the answer is no. Okay, and why is that?
What's your question?
You know what? Let's just ignore that. Okay, we'll move on to the second one. India, Pakistan. Do you know that the Prime Minister of India came out on television and said, yes, I know Donald Trump claimed credit for this, but Donald Trump and the United States had zero to do with any ending of any conflict between us and Pakistan?
And that's not beneficial to him to claim that.
Well, sir, unless you can provide me evidence, so far I have Donald Trump saying that he ended the war and the countries involved saying, no, he didn't. And so unless you have other evidence that he did, I don't think we're just going to give Donald credit for something on that.
Pakistan claimed that Trump helped them.
Okay. Well, by
Not the
this, by your evidence claim, I actually stopped the war between India and Pakistan.
Well, Pakistan didn't claim that you ended it, right?
Oh, so what did Donald Trump do to end it? What did Pakistan claim Donald Trump did to end it?
He negotiated, bro.
Negotiated what?
A peace deal.
Sir, in order for him to negotiate a deal, that means India would have had to have been involved, and we have no evidence that India even met with Donald Trump or anything like that. And again, they said he had nothing to do with it.
Does he have to negotiate a deal with both parties present and only then it counts?
To end a war, yes, that's how wars end. You don't just get to negotiate with one side and end a war, because two sides fight a war.
Okay, are they fighting right now?
Yes, they've been fighting. That didn't stop. They actually just had another escalation like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and then that went down, and then they'll have another escalation in a couple of weeks. Yeah, they fought
but
well
that's
after
minor.
that time.
That's not what was going on. What was going on was
So
on
gotcha.
levels
So
of,
just
like, World
to
War
be,
III.
no, it was not. It was barely a freaking like little conflict, dude. And again, it continued
Okay,
well
so
after
that's
Donald
your
Trump said he
opinion.
ended
That's
the
your
war.
opinion,
That's
fine.
not an opinion, sir.
Okay, then where are you getting that?
Where am I getting from? Every world news agency on the planet. BBC,
Oh.
Al Jazeera, literal Indian news, literal Pakistani news.
Okay, now
literally
now
everyone.
I see where like the divide is.
Yes,
You're
you believe
listening
everything
to-
Trump
you're
says, and
listening
I
to the
require
media
evidence.
that supports your point of view.
Sir,
You're not listening to the
the
media.
Indian
that is
and
actually doing the
Pakistani, sir,
investigation.
the Indian and Pakistani news organizations are the ones that support my point of view.
No. Pakistani government said that yes, Trump helped us end this war.
Yeah, and they
They give him
never,
credit.
sir. Unless both sides say it, it doesn't matter. Unless you have evidence otherwise.
Okay, you can put it however you want.
I'm going
However,
to, sir.
it's best for you.
It
and
has
your
nothing to do
favorite
with
president.
me, sir. It has nothing to do with me. It affects me zero if Donald Trump ends a war in between India and Pakistan. If he does, that's awesome. Okay? It doesn't matter to me. Affects me zero. Couldn't
Okay,
care
what do you
less,
have
to
to
be
say for
completely
the
honest with
economy?
you. There's just no evidence that he did.
What? You know what? That's like wars. Who cares? You're right. What about the economy? The stock rally has been like at all times high. They beat stock records like all year. It was like 50 records or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
You know, when we were hitting all those records under the Biden administration, Donald Trump actually himself came out and said that the stock market is not a good judge of the economy.
Yeah, because that was beneficial for him politically.
Gotcha. So if Biden has a whole bunch of stock market records, that's not a good judge of the economy. If Donald Trump has a bunch of stock market records,
That's what.
then they are
I
literally
didn't say
the
that.
then they are
I said that
literally then
Trump
they
said
are
that.
literally the key to the economy.
I said that Trump said that because you're claiming that Trump said that. I'm agreeing with you.
I'm
Trump
just
did
saying
say that.
I'm just saying it's funny that Donald Trump doesn't think it's a good judge of the economy, but you do.
He doesn't. You see, that's the problem with a lot of liberals.
I'm not a
You
liberal,
guys
sir.
hear what he says.
I'm not a liberal.
Whatever you are, man.
Well, if you don't know what
You
I
hear
am,
he
then maybe
says
you
and
shouldn't be
just take it
making
as it
comments
is.
about
You
it,
take
sir.
it as it is. You take it as it is, and you don't read between the lines. See, back then he said it because it was beneficial for him politically, but right now it's the other way around.
Gotcha. So I should decide whether it's true or not based on whether it is beneficial for Donald Trump or not.
You're not hearing me.
I think I heard you just fine, sir.
No, you gotta read between the lines on what Trump says. Okay, you gotta see what he actually means because he doesn't always say it directly.
Yeah, no, I understand perfectly, sir. The stock market is in no way a judge of the economy, okay, at all. All right. As long as it's beneficial for Donald Trump to say that. But once the
Also,
stock
may I
market starts
say-
doing well under Donald Trump, then it is a good judge of the economy because now it's beneficial for Donald Trump. I think I got it. No, I think I nailed it. Yeah.
Also, may I say, this stock market is at all-time highs, and that's with even some parts of the old guard still fighting back. Like Jerome Powell just throwing a wrench into the economy, trying to hike up interest rates.
He
I'm not
actually hasn't hiked up
completely sure what that does,
Jerome
but
Powell
I know
hasn't-
that it's bad.
Jerome Powell hasn't hiked up a single interest rate. And since Trump has been
Didn't
president.
they-
He's actually lowered it twice.
Yeah, but he's been keeping them high, is what I'm saying. He hasn't been lowering them.
Do you know how interest rates get lowered in the United States? First of all, let me be clear. Can you please name one president in I don't fucking know when that we didn't have record highs in the stock market? We had record highs under Biden. We had record highs under Trump's last administration. We had record highs under Obama, both terms.
Yeah, but if you look at the stock market, it's higher now than it was during
Yes,
Biden.
it is a record high. Every single president that comes in, sir, they hit the new record high, and then a new president comes in and they hit the record high, and then a new president comes in and then they hit a record high, and then the new president comes in and they hit a record high. It happens with every single president. It's not a Trump thing, sir. It just always again.
Yeah, but see,
Biden
during
Biden
what
hit
game-
record
what game
highs.
was that? May I say that? May I say something?
Biden hit record highs, sir.
May I say something?
What?
Biden achieved record highs while also achieving record highs on inflation. Trump is not he's giving us the good part and not the bad part, the inflation.
Sir, what was the inflation when Donald Trump took office? What was the inflation?
I don't know, but I'm when I go to the store right now, I don't feel inflation the way I did during Biden.
Sir, what was the inflation rate when Donald Trump took office?
Do you think I know this?
Well, then you can say the words, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. It was 3%, and Biden had it down to 2.4% during last year, 2024. I'm pretty sure towards March or April of 2024. And then I think currently right now, what's it at 2.7?
Definitely lower than it was during Biden.
Is 2.7 lower than 2.4?
I'm sure if you get some liberal person who wants to, get the guy they want in power, they'll say whatever number they need to say.
Sir, we actually have all of the data from BLS, right? Where actually BLS puts out a giant spreadsheet.
And who put them in charge? Biden. They're all working for him. See, that's the thing. You just don't see it.
Sir, if that was the
It's the deep
case,
state.
then why wouldn't the BLS under the Trump administration be reporting lower numbers than were under Biden's administration?
Because they're like terms and shit. They can't fire them all and just replace them with their own people.
Donald Trump literally fired the person and replaced him with his own people. That literally happened in September.
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet.
Yep, that actually did
Maybe
happen.
I think they fired like one person, but like everyone else is still there.
Dude, he fired like so many people.
I never seen that in the news.
Yeah. So, anyways, do you know what the inflation rate is? The inflation rate is like 2.7%. Do you know what that means?
Oh yeah, tell me.
Sir, again, do you know what that means?
I'll tell you what it means.
Okay.
When I go to the store during Biden, everything was getting expensive nearly every day. Every day prices were rising. Right now, I go to the store, eggs I can buy, all the other stuff I can buy. It's different.
Could you not buy food under the Biden administration?
It was way harder every time.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm
what
telling
that
you, like-
actually means, sir, the inflation rate at 2.7% actually means that year over year, okay, things have inflated by 2.7%, which means that about a year ago from now, things were 2.7% less on average over everything, groceries, gas, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So things
Okay.
are actually more expensive now, sir. And groceries are actually one of the biggest culprits in that. Yeah, beef is up. I think
don't
like
agree
what,
with
like
you, 'cause the
30%
thing
or
is,
something.
You're looking at some number that some guy tells you. I'm looking at the groceries that I buy every day.
Yeah, I'm also
It's a
looking at the
different
groceries
thing.
I buy every day. I know that you guys think that because I'm in front of a camera that maybe I don't eat or buy groceries, but I
You buy
also
like
go to the
DoorDash, I'm
but I
sure, something like
also go to
that.
the grocery store and I also buy groceries and I can see that they are literally more expensive, right?
Where are you in California?
I'm in Florida.
Wow, you're in Florida and you don't support Trump.
Yeah. You know that
That's
we're
crazy.
all over the place, right? Yeah.
That
Trump has a
is messed up.
Trump has a 53% disapproval rating right now and like a 39% approval rating. You can't
Yeah,
find a
yeah.
state
If
where
you ask,
there's a bunch
if
of people
you
that
ask
don't support
people like
Trump, sir.
you're gonna get that number. See, you're just not talking to people that actually are outside your bubble. You just want to live in your nice little bubble.
Again, sir,
I'm sure
I live in Florida, so I don't even live in a bubble. Like literally everyone around me is generally a Republican. I live in a literal county that carried Trump by 50 points.
sure. I believe you. Hand to my heart.
I don't really care whether you believe me or not, sir. That really has no effect on anything.
Well, you don't sound like you live outside the bubble because you only say the talking points that the left has been saying for years.
No, sir, I only just speak from data. It's not from a talking point.
See, that's the thing. Like where do you get that data? You get it.
The current
From
data
the
I'm
sources
talking
that
about,
want you
sir,
to
is
have it.
literally from the Trump administration's own government, from BLS stats.
I'm telling you, it's not. You think that Trump administration just fired the whole government and put their own people in? The whole government. They fired everyone, put their good people in.
Sir, even BLS isn't the only one that reports on these things, sir. There's multiple independent organizations that all report, and all of the data freaking aggregated together all still proves my point. Okay?
What I'm getting from this is you don't really understand how deep the deep state goes.
And what I think I'm learning from this conversation is that you, sir, don't understand how economic data works.
It's not about that. It's about what it's actually like on the ground.
Yeah, sir. And then when people go and they take those numbers that are on the ground and then they put them in a giant sheet, okay? And then we put all those numbers together, that's called data. Okay?
No, that's called manipulation. They want you to look at that number that they made up and they want you to think, "Yep, this is bad."
No, sir. I don't need any of those numbers. I know it's bad. I can look at my grocery bill and see that it's worse, right? Like it's not hard to see.
You have it as you did that test. You did the same test as like they did, and you came up with the same number.
Well, no, sir, because I don't
go up.
extrapolate data directly from my grocery store. They extrapolate data from grocery stores all across my state, all across my region, all across the United States.
But you're seeing prices go up. You say?
Me personally, yes. But I'm not, this isn't the data that I'm talking about, sir. I'm talking about the data across all of the United States because Donald Trump isn't the president of my local publics. He's the president of the United States. And so therefore we need data from all the way across the United States.
Okay, sure. What other points you got?
I don't have any, sir.
Then I won.
Congratulations. Oh, I was going to congratulate you. Where did you go? Yo, please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. We do this 6-7 nights a week. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. It really means the world. You guys are being absolutely awesome. I really appreciate you guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. Turn on those notifications if you haven't already also. So I really appreciate that. If you guys are over on the Tap Your Screen app, can we get that thing up to 200,000? I really appreciate that. Also, if you guys would like to help me hit this little gift goal over here, we got like 9 more little mushrooms, so I appreciate that. That would be very helpful. Betty says, I think the pea fell out of that caller's head, straight out the ear, straight out the ear. Tim, that is, I don't think I can read that, but I'm gonna throw it up for a second. Okay, I'm gonna throw it up for a second. Goodness gracious. Thank you for the $5. And Miss Contagious, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Can we get huge W's in the chat for Miss Contagious? Is it Holy Tooth Decay Batman? These people are stupid. I need an AA meeting after that. I might need one during this. Okay, we might need that meeting to happen live on air. All right. I'm not sure we're gonna make it all the way through this live, to be completely honest with you. Thank you so much. If you guys would also like to support, I do have super chats and all the other fun stuff with that. So if you like support, I like to throw them up on the screen, have some fun with those. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Mama, thank you so much for the jewels. Also, Wade, thank you so much. Luna, thank you so much. And El Champa and Stephanie, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys also. All right, we're going to open up the phone lines and keep this thing going. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hello, how are you? All right, goodbye. Hello, how are you?
Good in yourself?
I'm doing excellent. How old are you?
28.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
It's 50-50.
All right, sir. Well, I don't really understand how you can be 50-50.
Well, in the beginning, I supported him fully, and then after everything that's going on with so far this first term, I felt like, like his first term or the second term, sorry, but his first term he was how, it was always make America great again, but now it seems like the way I took keep make America great again was about the people. But it seems now it feels like it's just all about the what's the word for it? The military industrial complex.
The Iranians, the Israelis, the people in Greenland, the Argentinians.
Where
literally everybody else.
Yeah, I voted for him, because I live in California and the cost of living is brutal. I work a full-time and a part-time job. My spouse works the same thing. And, it's still hard. It doesn't seem like it's putting Americans first.
Donald Trump literally bankrupted millions of farmers in the agricultural industry in his first term. He did huge tax cuts for simply just billionaires, right? While literally kicking scraps off the table to poor people. He's literally kicking millions of people off their food benefits. The job market is horrible. We've lost almost 1 million jobs just last year. Okay. I don't know why you would think that a billionaire who has spent his entire life fucking over contractors to build his buildings and golf courses would care about you.
But the way I see the United States president, me personally, I see that as a manager. You're gonna manage the country for the next 4 years. Sorry, that's my daughter. So,
Who wouldn't want to? Who wouldn't want a billionaire? You know, a successful businessman as a manager.
Because he
Um,
wasn't a successful businessman. He bankrupted over
I
7
mean,
different businesses. He freaking bankrupted multiple casinos. If you adjusted his net worth at the time, like in 2016, for inflation, he actually lost money from the money he inherited.
but couldn't you say the same thing about big businesses where they where they come in kind of like Walmart, you know, when Walmart started getting popular, all the mom and pop shops started burning down. Can't you say the same thing like that?
Yeah, but sir, that would be like Donald Trump bankrupting themselves. That's not what happened. Trump phones, Trump steaks, Trump airlines, again, multiple casinos, things with Trump's name on it. He bankrupted all of them. And again, if Donald Trump had just taken the money he inherited it and put it in a standard yield savings account, he would have made more money. He lost money. Okay? He's not a good businessman. He never was. All right? And let's be on top of that, right? Is that the United States is not a business. Okay. There is a reason why when you go to school, you can get a degree in business and you can get a degree in economics, right?
Yeah.
Because the point of a business is to make money. The point of the United States government and the economy is to take care of its people, right? So that's why it's important to know the difference. Donald Trump is doing a great job right now of making money. He's just only making it for himself and his billionaire friends because all Donald Trump has cared about is himself and his billionaire friends. Because all billionaires became billionaires because all they cared about was enriching themselves. That's how you become a billionaire, right? You don't become a billionaire because you care about other people or your workers. You fucked over all your workers. That's how you got here, right? You fucked over, like you said, Walmart taking over all those small businesses. You screwed over all those mom and pop shops because you were chasing money, right? And so Donald Trump is doing exactly what Donald Trump has always done. He's screwing over the same people he's always screwed over. It's just now you're seeing it. So I'm not trying to be like mean to you or rude to you or whatever. I'm just
No,
saying
no, no.
you
No,
need
you're
to
fine.
think about like when we like Kamala Harris, right? And I'm not saying Kamala Harris was the best candidate that ever existed. I'm not trying to pretend that. Okay? She spent her entire life as a public servant, all right? Probably in many times where she could have made a lot more money, all right, in order to fight for the people, right? As a prosecutor, as a district attorney, as a senator, as the vice president, right? These are all jobs that she took not to become the richest person, but to give back to the people, all right? So you have on one side, a person who gave their entire life to supporting and helping other people, and another person on the other side who has done everything in his power to enrich himself. Okay. And this is why, like, we need to think about people like presidential candidates and all candidates for all elected offices holistically, right? Let's look at their morality, right? Let's look at their intentions. Let's look at all of these things. Okay. And then make a decision. Don't just go, oh, that guy rich, so he make me rich. No, that guy rich, so he makes himself rich. That's how this
So can I
works.
so can I ask you what your stance is on the whole transgender in sports and stuff like that? Because me myself, I have a daughter. She's 5 years old, and as a father, I would be damned if I see a grown man walking out of out of that girl's restroom.
Yeah. So I have a daughter that's actually 15 years old and does play high school sports. Okay. So just being completely honest with you, I think I'm a little bit more qualified at this point, right? Yeah, and that does not bother me in the slightest. Sir. Sports are going to make the rules on sports. Okay. I personally think when it comes to bathrooms, I think the entire United States should just go to gender neutral bathrooms, just like a whole bunch of the world already has. Okay. And I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable in the restroom, right? I don't want men, women, anybody to feel uncomfortable, period. Right. But when we make this idea of just like that trans people are the one that are causing it, it's just not really the case. Yes, there are some instances, but there's also lots of instances like Donald Trump himself, who, we have tons of proof on, used to go into the dressing rooms of women at the Miss USA and girls under the age of 16 at Miss Teen USA that were going into those locker rooms and making those girls feel very uncomfortable, right? And that had nothing to do with trans people. Right. So I think that we just need to think about this like as a whole. All right. The amount of trans people in the United States is like less than 1% of 1%. They are not a big part of it. Right. They are not over dominating sports. We don't see them in the WNBA, or I think there was like a dozen of them in all of the NCAA. Right. Of all trans people there. Right. And they just want to, I'm pretty sure they just want to, go take a shit just like everybody else. Right. Like, to be completely honest with you. And when I hear that, like, oh, if I see a grown man walking out of the restroom, well, sir, with all due respect, sir, you're the fact that you're saying that is just kind of weird, because what it sounds like you're saying is if you were a grown man in that restroom, then you would be doing something nefarious, right? Because you think that other people are, right? Where that trans person is just trying to live their best life and go to the bathroom. Where you're like, oh, if I saw them walking out, I would be furious. Why? Because they went to the bathroom? Or are you just assuming something nefarious because you would be doing something nefarious?
No, I know I wouldn't.
Then why do you think others
I
are?
mean, you would be right to say I would assume, but as you said, I mean, your daughter's 15, so I mean, you probably have more leniency towards that. To where my daughter is 5, it's just the idea of a grown man walking to the restroom. There's a 5-year-old in there as well.
Yeah, sure. And I understand you're trying to protect your daughter, and that's understandable. Okay. But what we actually find more than anything, right, is not this grown man answer, right? Like what you actually tend to see is, you know, trans people who are very, very close to presenting, or very well present the sexuality that they are trying to present. And so what you end up happening with is I actually just saw a video about this. Oh, it was maybe 2 weeks ago. It was so sad. And this person wasn't even trans, right? He was a gay gentleman, but he was wearing, like very brightly colored, shiny things. There was lots of glitter, right? And lots of bright colors and stuff like that. And this man was harassed in a bath, just harassed and demeaned and completely torn down in this bathroom, right? Just treated like absolute shit just for being himself. And this wasn't even a trans person. Right? You see trans people that, like that are, that were maybe born male and transitioned to women, right? And then they're going into the male bathrooms and they're being harassed. Like their level of, of being sexual assaulted, their rate increases significantly just because of that, or vice versa. You have someone who was born, a woman and transitions to a man. Right. And now that person is going into the woman's bathroom. And now you see somebody who is male presenting going into the woman's bathroom with your daughter. And now acts of violence happen against them, even though they were born female and going in to the female bathroom. Right. So what I'm saying in all of this, sir, is you should absolutely 100% be protective of your daughter, right? That's your job as a parent, to be protective of your daughter. And I know when my daughter was 5 years old, I stood right by that door, right? And I stood right by the door of that bathroom, listening to make sure that there was no screams, there was no yells, there was no nothing. And this had nothing to do with trans people. This just had to do with me being protective. Right. And I made sure there was no screams, no yells. And if I thought for any reason that she was, taking too long or that something might be the problem, I'd stick my head and go, "Hey, you good?" And she'd go, "I'm good, Dad." And I go, "Cool." And I went back to standing outside, right? And just hanging out, right? But making this a thing about trans people, like as if somebody wanted to be a predator in a bathroom, they would need to change their gender in order to do so, is just crazy, right? If a man wants to be a predator in the bathroom, I don't think that the sign on the door saying the gender is going to affect that.
Yeah, I never seen it from that perspective.
Just something to think about, man.
Yeah, I mean, I see myself more as of independent. I mean, there's things from the right that I see, that I agree with. There's things from the left that I agree with. But I was listening earlier. This other caller, we were debating about eyes. I do feel like there is needs to be some type of reform. Some people that were here illegally, I feel like there should be a more humane way to do it. But I feel like at the end of the day, the way people are describing it, uh, making them feel, or making them come out to be like the Gestapo, I feel like that's a little bit too excessive.
Yeah, so at this point we don't need to reform ICE. ICE needs to be torn down and it needs to be built up from the roots, right? There is
Yeah,
no
I mean,
place to
I feel
reform
like
it
there need
from.
body
It's
cams and stuff
it's
like that too.
it's way too far gone, right? And I'm not by saying that, I'm not saying we don't need immigrations and customs enforcement. We do need that, just not in the form of ICE anymore. ICE is too far gone. They're way too corrupt, right? But when people like me, and I do it all the time, right? When I compare things like ICE to the Gestapo, it is not okay. What it does is you hear that as saying, "Oh, we're living in Nazi Germany," and that's not what I'm saying. Okay, what I am saying is, okay, when the Gestapo first started up, it started as an immigration force, just like ICE. Okay, Gestapo was used by Hitler in order to intimidate his political opponents. Donald Trump has done that with ICE too. They were going around asking people for their papers, right? And you had to be able to prove the papers that you had in order to not be detained or arrested or beat up or any other thing. Well, that's exactly what ICE is doing. They were, they were putting people in concentration camps and detention centers due to their political ideologies, due to their lack of having provable papers, or just because they looked at them the wrong way or felt wrong. They were killing people in the streets, citizens, right? These are all things that ICE is doing, right? So it is comparable, all right? And it's very comparable. If you're able to take out of your head they're just calling them Nazis, right? If you're able to take that out of your head, it's exactly the same thing. I mean, it's very, very similar in the way that they're acting.
Do you think the media has a lot to play with it? Because I know when Trump was when he had his assassination attempt, they were calling him Hitler, this and the other, and some people take that for face value.
Sir, people are always trying to assassinate the president of the United States. That's just how it works, okay? But if you actually looked at the guy and I'm assuming you're the one where the guy, shot and a piece of glass or something nicked Trump's ear. I'm assuming you're talking about that one, right?
Yeah.
When talking about that one, that guy had a whole list of people that he wanted to try to take out. And Biden was on that list. There was people on the left. There's people on the right. There were people that had nothing to do with politics. He just wanted to take out somebody that was big time. That's all it was. This was not about political rhetoric or anything like that. This was just a horrible, deranged person that had way too easy access to an assault rifle who took a shot while he could. That's what that was.
Speaking about that, how do you feel about gun reform?
How do I feel about gun reform? I
myself, I myself, I am licensed to carry.
So am I.
In the state of California, it is, it makes it real difficult. We have what we call the sin tax. We have the 11% sin tax when you purchase the firearm. You gotta wait. You gotta wait a certain amount of days for the DOJ. When, like my first time, I believe it was undetermined, so I had to wait an additional 45 days from the DOJ. Now it makes it real hard to be a law-abiding citizen with a gun here in California. They treat us like we're the criminals.
No, sir. They just treat you like they want to know that you actually have a weapon and that you know how to use it, and then it's licensed and registered the way it should be. No different from you owning a car, all right? You're not being treated like a criminal because you're forced to register in your car, that you're forced to, have a driver's license or pass a test that says you know how to use it or obey laws around it. That's not saying that you're a criminal, right?
So do you agree? So with our magazines, they have to come at a standardized 10-round mag. We can't have any. Even our assault rifles, they have to be either a fixed mag or where you have to break it to.
Sir, if you're carrying a weapon and it takes you more than 10 rounds to stop whatever you're trying to stop, you shouldn't be qualified to carry that weapon.
No, that I agree with, but it's just the freedom of You know, if I wanted an extended mag or anything like that, what or why would I have to be criminalized?
You're not
I
criminalized,
wanted.
sir. You're not criminalized. Okay. When we look at gun violence rates in the United States, places with the least amount of gun laws have the highest rate of homicide with those weapons, okay, per capita. All right. Places like Louisiana, places like Alabama that have very, very loose gun laws have the highest rates of murder with those weapons. Okay.
But
Gun
I
laws
also
work.
think it'll depend on the governor as well, though. See, because I mean, you're in Florida, states like Alabama where your governor's not too crook. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's different gun. I mean, gun laws change every year, but I don't think they're to the extent of California's.
No, California is one of the stricter ones when it comes to guns. I'm not denying that that is, but that's not a right that you have for to be able to carry a 18 round magazine, or just the way it's not your right to have an F-35 or a nuclear weapon, sir. Okay, gun laws save lives. That's the reason why the United States is the only, what we call civilized nation on the planet, right? That has the number one preventable rate of, or preventable cause of death in children to be guns. We're the only one. We're the only one in the civilized world, okay, that the number one preventable cause of death in children is guns. That's it.
But I think with guns, that's not on the gun. That's on the parent. The parent should have their firearm secured.
Well, then, sir, then how come every other freaking country that has better gun laws doesn't have this problem?
Is there a statistic to where child guns and deaths are from legal gun owners and are stolen or unregistered firearms?
Sure, it's
I
all
would
across the
bet
board,
down.
right? It's all across the board, right? Especially when it comes to the children's stats, it's actually usually legal gun owners. It's kids that get into their parents' guns, or they find one, or all sorts of stuff like that, sir. But that's not the point. What I'm just saying is that gun laws work. They just do. It's just that simple. They do work. Okay. But I mean, if you really don't want to, you really don't care about that type of thing, then go move to Alabama, go move to Louisiana. They have very, very loose gun laws. You're just a lot more likely to get murdered.
No, I get that. I mean, I do agree with you on the gun laws, but I feel like states shouldn't try to restrict it as much as they could.
They should restrict it a lot more. That's why freaking, you have things like school shootings. The overwhelming majority of school shootings happen from legally owned guns. The overwhelming majority of mass shootings happen with legally owned guns. It's not illegal ones. It's not stolen ones. It's just legally owned guns. So, but anyways, man, I'm going to move on to the next caller because we've bounced around a lot, but I hope you have a good one. All right.
No problem. You too, man.
All right.
Thank you. I mean, you gave me a new perspective, bro.
I'm glad I did. All right. Think on it
Yes,
later.
sir.
All right, man. Bye.
Yes.
All right, y'all. We're gonna keep this thing moving. Move on to the next person. I really appreciate y'all. Y'all, how do we not get this thing up to 200,000 yet? Y'all are slacking over here. Can we get this thing up to 200,000? I really appreciate you guys. If you guys like to support, I do have my live gift goal here. I really appreciate that. I think we need like 3 more of those. So I really do appreciate that. Mama, thank you so much for the jewels. And Sugar, thank you so much for the jewels. If you'd like to support, I also do have super chats open. I usually like to throw them up in between callers, but we didn't get one to throw up that time. That's okay, though. We'll get one for next time. But we can throw them up in between callers and keep things going. So I really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. Very sweet. But more than anything, please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We do this 6-7 nights a week. So yeah, make sure you're coming by, hanging out, join the Discord, all that fun stuff. So I really appreciate you guys. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hello. How are you?
Hi.
Hi. How old are you?
Hello?
Hi. How old are
I'm
you?
30.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
To a point. Yes, I do.
Real quick, sorry. Joe, thank you so much for the $25. I really, really appreciate that. Huge W's in the chat to Joe for the $25. It said, for you, since I deserve it because that last guy won. Not that guy, the guy before, the guy who let me know very quickly that he won. So Joe sent me a consolation prize for for me losing so badly. But thank you so much. And thank you guys so much for clearing that gift goal, too. I really appreciate that.
This conversation is about winning or losing. I really don't think that.
Sir, it was a joke because 2 callers ago just said I won and then hung up the phone.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah,
it was.
I think honestly, the people that you're talking to, bro, they're just not really that, I guess, politically enthused as you. You know what I mean? Like, I generally just want to ask you this question: do you think what's happening in Minnesota is right?
Of course not, sir.
Do you truly believe that ICE and trust me, I've made thesis, term papers, and everything. I truly believe that we've done a wrong to the Mexican people in this nation. We shouldn't have just used them as we did, but I truly believe that every nation in this world, in the history of this world, has used slavery or indentured servitude or anything like that as a way to progress its own nation. That is just a fact, bro. And I mean, you can go to your Google.
What does that have to
bro,
do with? What does that have to do with what's going on in Minnesota?
Because in a way, we're doing a disservice to the Mexican nationality. We pretty much use them to build our infrastructure at a cheap rate, and then we cast them out. But the thing is, by casting them out, it's also raising the wages of basic Americans, because the companies that were utilizing these pretty much indentured servants, the companies that were using these people were part of the top 2% of the economic GDP of the whole damn nation. But when you think about it, bro, we're doing
really,
these people a service.
Sir, this sounds like an interesting conversation, and like literally, like we can have it. Like it's not that
is
serious.
Is this the part where you control the conversation?
No,
to basically juxtapose yourself to make me sound like a fucking idiot?
Well, sir, I'm
just a basic American, just like everybody else. That literally, I got off of work.
Right now, you're just kind of.
I got off of work and I was taking a shit, and your
honestly.
feed just so happened because I'm controlling the conversation. I've seen how you talk to people, bro. It's fucked up.
I'm just trying to figure out.
Me in a way.
I'm just trying to figure out why you brought up Minnesota because honestly, Minnesota
as a Democrat,
and then said
as a liberal,
nothing to do with Minnesota. You said, do you think what's going on in Minnesota is right? And I said, no, it's wrong. And then you went off on an entirely different thing that had nothing to do with Minnesota.
Right.
So I was just curious
because
if you wanted to talk about Minnesota.
It's a part of all of this.
Or you wanted to talk about the things that you were talking about. I'm just very curious.
I just want to get your general opinion on how you think the even world works, bro. You think that I guess you think that freedom is something that
giant rock
was given to you. You're black, right?
It kind of does one of these things. The rock keeps spinning like this, and then but it does it a lot faster. And then like it kind of goes around the sun.
Are you
but
African American?
Not like in a circle. It's more of like an oval. All right, that's kind of
right.
And that's how we get days and years and seasons.
Are you African American?
And other stuff.
Are you African American?
No.
Are you African American?
No.
So what are you?
I'm poly.
What are you if you're not African American? You're Polish?
I'm not Polish.
Is that what you said?
I said I'm poly.
You're poly, right? I'm asking you of your demographic, sir. I'm asking you, are you of your demographic? Are you African American, sir?
No.
So what are you?
I'm poly.
What descent are you cast from?
I'm like a fucking really good looking one. Apparently,
as a black man, I sat here and witnessed of what you said, even about children. How dare you say that about kids? I have a daughter, bro. And how about you ask your 15-year-old daughter?
I'm very sorry for her.
No, sir.
I'm very sorry for her.
Your perspective.
Anyway,
ask
sir,
your daughter.
Why are you so angry, sir?
Grown-ass men. No, because what you're doing right now is radicalizing a bunch of fucking people in your chat. And those people in your chat are going to take the worst.
All right, I'm just going to go ahead and mute.
People like you. Go ahead, buddy.
Why are you hollering, sir? Is this what
because
what
people
you sound
like you are
after,
radicalizing the left.
After all of
you're
your loved
radicalizing
ones
the left in a
stop talking
because
to
you're
you.
radicalizing the left in a way so the fatigue button is growing. And I don't think you realize
No,
when that fatigue button
that's
grows,
funny
these
that
white people
this
not going to give a
dude-
fuck about you, gang.
This dude is
They're not that as they-
screaming and saying that I'm
Okay, bro.
radicalizing people.
All right, bro.
I'm talking
You
in
are-
a very
you are,
calm,
bro.
normal voice.
You are.
But this
You
guy
are
wants to say that
radicalizing people
I'm
in a way.
radicalizing people.
I have a lot of gay cousins. I know how y'all talk. Trust me,
This-
bro. You are
this dude
radicalizing people.
He
I
did not
know
just
how
say,
you
I
are.
have a lot of
Trust
gay
me, bro.
cousins, bro.
I do.
That is a
I do.
wild statement.
I have
to
a
say,
perspective
bro.
on it too. I know
That is
exactly how you
wild,
people
dude.
talk. I know
got
exactly
a
how
lot
you
of
people
gay
talk,
cousins
and I know
is a
exactly. I
wild
know
thing to say,
exactly. I know
That's
exactly how you
wild,
people
dude.
talk.
Bro, you
I
need
know
to,
exactly
do you know
how
where
you
your
people talk.
Do you know where your blood
I know
pressure
exactly
medication is?
I know every way that you like to twist and bend someone's words to basically
Ooh, now he's
make them
talking about
sound
me
like
twisting
they're
and bending.
assholes. Yes, you are. Yes, you are,
You'd
sir.
like that, wouldn't you?
You're asking basic Americans about principles that they don't even fucking understand. At the end of the day, Donald Trump made eggs lower, the price of eggs lower. Guess what?
Oh,
Donald
not
Trump also
eggs.
gave you a bunch of taxable deductions that you don't probably even know of.
Sir, I would love to address these points, but you are going to have to stop screaming.
Please do, sir. Because I'm not
Again,
sitting here
sir,
saying that everything Donald Trump
sir,
has done was good.
Sir,
But if you
all
want
right, I'm going to go ahead and mute you now because this is getting ridiculous, okay? I have no problem addressing these points, but you're going to need to bring down the tone of your voice about 9 fucking steps. Okay? Okay? I'm going to need, you're way the hell up here. I don't need you to be way down here, but I am going to need you to like kind of like cycle it a bit, all right?
basically
He's still
radicalizing the right
screaming.
to not give a fuck.
He's still
That is
screaming.
a fact. You're gonna get people hurt, bro.
Why does Blaga get
you
so
let
angry?
this shit keep going on. You let this shit go on in the next
You see
3
how
years.
he's
we're gonna
not
have a civil
allowing me
war,
to address
and more
any
people will die.
of the points?
More people will die.
All right,
More
sir.
people than the people that was in Minnesota will die because of
All
people
right, sir.
like
Well,
you.
again,
Stop
if
it.
I can't address
Stop
a
it.
point, then I'm going to move on
Stop
to the
it.
next person. Okay.
Stop it, or this will be.
All right. Well, I'm just going to move on to the next person. I was trying to address him with something, but you know, some people didn't raise their children right. Cass says, please let him speak. I let him speak way too much. That was way too much. I said, I have a lot of gay cousins. I know how you speak. Clip of the day. Thank you so much, Cass. And David said, holy clip farm, how do you people talk? I love your life. I don't know. I just let him go for a second. He seemed like he needed to get something off of his chest. And I would rather him do it to me than on his wife, or I assume whoever he was gonna, hurt later. I would rather him just let it out on me. He needs a therapist, but I guess I'm the therapist today. I don't get paid enough to be his therapist, honestly. That's freaking crazy. Yo, please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate that. Yeah, someone seriously traumatized that man. Derek said Polly inciting crash outs. I did nothing.
It's insane.
Okay? I did absolutely nothing. I said, hello, how are you? He asked me one question about Minnesota. I said it was bad. Okay? I didn't incite anything. All right? I barely said anything, dude. How did I incite stuff? Y'all also, just to let you guys know, for like the people that are in my portrait live over on YouTube, there is also a landscape live. So if you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, you prefer to see it on like a larger, like the more landscape side of things too, that does exist. If you guys like it, no need to go there. But if you'd like to go there, you can. Just want to let you know it was there. All right. Also, just remember, if you guys ever miss one, they're all on recording and they're all there, so you guys can check it out later too. All right. So that's always cool. Mary says, please clip this and post it. I'm amused. See, you want me to clip it and post it, but the difference is that I have to listen to it in order for that to happen. Okay. Which is quite frustrating for me.
It's insane.
All right. I don't want to have to listen to it again to do that. Carolyn says a guest was constipated or something, or not constipated enough. I'm not real sure. All right. He was something. Thank you so much. And Cass also said, I agree that it was potentially much. It's possible he is mentally ill or something. Anyways, respect for what you do, man. P.S. I'm Polish. Apparently, we're both Polish. Okay? That's what I learned today. We're both Polish. All right. So there you go. You and me. Even though you are sitting from PLN, which I assume is probably the currency of Poland. So you're a lot more Polish than me. All right. Thank you so much. Hello, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. How old are you?
I'm 33 in January, so I'm 32.
It literally is January.
Yeah, I'm turning 30 in a couple of days.
Oh. All right. So how old are you?
I'm turning 30. I'm 32. Turning 33 in a couple of days.
Okay. Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
After what happened, and a few comments that he made on infringing on gun rights, magazines, a few comments he made about magazines rubbed me the wrong way. And of course, over the past few years, the way he's fallen short of articulating himself. I do support, like everybody, nobody's perfect, but I do support some things he does, and I do support other things he does. And I don't support some things he does. I honestly, I can understand how the last caller was very riled up as far as speaking about, and whenever you spoke about taking away the guns and how certain gun laws would be beneficial to this country. But unfortunately, as you and I both know, criminals don't follow the law. And if you look at a case like a Laken Riley or any of the rights points whenever they throw out, well, all of these people have been murdered by illegal immigrants. Well, as you know, illegal immigrants can't possess firearms legally. And so these people have been murdered and killed after being raped, sometimes underage people. And
All right.
they
So,
didn't use a gun. And so my point is,
Yeah.
I'm listening.
No, you're fine. Sir, I'm not saying that having better gun laws would end murder. Okay?
It's insane.
Every country on this planet has murderers regardless of their gun laws. Okay? What I'm saying is the countries with the strictest gun laws have the rates of murder, or the lower rates of murder. It just is the truth. Okay? Like, I'll give you an example. All right. Australia had a horrible mass shooting in 2025. Okay? Horrible. All right. Guns were used, people were killed. They have very strict gun laws. A lot of people on the right freaking took to the streets and they were like, "Oh, that's it's horrible. You see, gun laws don't work." That was Australia's like third mass shooting in the last decade, and we had like 350 in 2025. 350, right? Mass shootings in 2025, and Australia has had like 3 in a decade, right? Because they had a mass shooting and then they straightened up their gun laws, and now they don't have this problem anymore. Right? So it's proof right there. And Australia is not the only one. I could make 3 dozen easy off the top of my head, right? Like examples of other countries that did the exact same thing, right? They had a mass shooting. They freaking, they straightened up, got rid of guns or made it very limited or all this sort of stuff. And then their mass shootings went away. Their gun violence rates dropped to almost nothing. Their mass murder rates dropped to almost nothing. And their overall murder rate decreased significantly. It happened across all of them. So this whole idea that they don't work is just insane. It does work, right? But the sad part is that no one's even arguing for that. No one on the left is arguing for that. None of the Democrats are arguing for us to become Australia. Hell, Democrats aren't even arguing to be Canada, right? And they have plenty of guns up there, right? Just with stricter laws, right?
Very strict laws.
They do, but no one's even advocating for that. No one's even advocating for that. People
What about Virginia?
lost.
They've recently wanted to pass certain things. Kamala Harris spoke about it, about banning assault weapons, whatever that would mean. And the point, I suppose, that I see people's perspective is that they say, well, at what point do they continue to chase and continue to be hungry for it? Like Trump,
That's
again,
a slippery slope
not
argument.
to bash
sir.
Trump.
But sir, you
Not
know
to
we
bash
had an
Trump
assault
necessarily.
weapons ban, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you know during that time, freaking mass shootings, the United States had one of the sharpest declines like ever?
It depends on who you're looking at.
No, it
depends
doesn't.
on whose data you
No, it
view.
doesn't.
But
No,
I can
it doesn't.
understand that you've read that, and that's what you think.
It's not I've read that and that's what I think, sir. It is empirical evidence and empirical data that proves a conclusion. We had an assault weapons ban, right? Which took 0 guns out of 0 people's hands. No one came knocking at your door. Nobody took your weapons away from you. None of that happened. And without taking a single gun from a single person in the United States, the assault weapons ban alone, like, drastically decreased the amount of mass shootings in the United States. And it really comes down to this, sir. And again, I don't need to go into the whole thing with it, okay? And I've made it very clear on here, okay? Like, I am a licensed owner. I am permitted to carry. All right? Like, I am not, like, I'm the last one, dude. I'm not him. All right? But making this argument that for some reason, because of a whatever misinterpretation of the Second Amendment, that somehow the ability for everyone to keep whatever gun they want is more important than the lives of the people that they murder every single year is just ridiculous. We could all
Well,
live in a United States.
Hate? Can you regulate hate?
Absolutely,
or can
you
regulate...
can. Absolutely, you can
Okay.
regulate hate. Absolutely, you 100% can. We
So
do it every single day in this country.
If you're angry at me, or somebody's angry at you, or somebody's on drugs, if we had a war on drugs, if only they would outlaw drugs or outlaw murder. Well, my point is that if you could outlaw these things, if somebody came at your sister, your girlfriend or boyfriend, or your mother, your younger sibling, would you want them to, like, I bring up Laken Riley. I'm ignorant of exactly what happened with her, but if that person was protected, say, with a firearm, maybe she would be alive. And I don't know if a 50 caliber weapon is necessary for everybody to have, but like you said, the misinterpretation of the Second Amendment, at what point in time, if they infringe, if you will, on shall not be infringed,
That's actually not what it says.
if you say the Constitution is not absolute, what other rights would they be willing to take away? Either it be Trump or a Democrat or another Republican.
Let's
And
be,
when we're going full circle to Trump, that's what is alarming.
sir, let's be very
and that's
clear.
the answer to your question.
I will give you that. That is alarming, right? The fact that Donald Trump has been against has violated clearly the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, 14th Amendment, 24th Amendment, I believe. Might be wrong on that last one. He's violated all sorts of amendments, right? 100%, right? 100%. He's violated all sorts of them. He comes after them, right? But I got told for like the longest time, right? And I got told forever, right? That the reason that people needed guns in the United States, the thing that was so important, right? Is that if there was ever a tyrannical government, right? That
Case in point.
right? There's ever a tyrannical government that we had the guns in order to fight against that tyrannical government. Let me be very clear. That is not what the Second Amendment says. But I was told that for a long time. Okay. And now we're in a situation where a man was carrying a weapon in Minnesota. This wasn't like it's not the most open gun law state in the world, not the strictest either, right? But somewhere in between, right? Was carrying a weapon that was registered to him, that he was permitted to carry, right? Was disarmed, shot in the back, and the Trump administration said that he was a domestic terrorist who was going out to commit mass atrocities against people, right? And the people that voted for him, obviously not you, sir, because you said that, you're starting to have questions about it. So maybe we're getting there. All right. The people that voted for him, the same people, the same don't tread on me people, the same people that, we need our guns for all sorts of stuff. The same people listen to Donald Trump, Kash Patel, Caroline Levitt, all say he shouldn't have had a gun. Christine Ohm, all say that he shouldn't have had a gun. And they're on his side still. Okay. Which tells me that no one ever gave a shit about the tyrannical government thing. They just wanted it to be the side that they're on. Right? They wanted to make sure that the other side didn't exist, right? That as long as it was their side, it was okay for the government to come and take their guns, to tread on them, to do all of those sort of things, right? As long as it was the other
That's
side.
the propaganda. I see it as propaganda. I see even the Democrat-Republican dichotomy as propaganda to set you and I apart and to have us distracted.
No.
And fighting one another over these small things. Well, should or shouldn't I be allowed to carry a firearm, when in fact it should be we the people. And it says have the right to keep and bear arms, and it's us together.
Actually, it
It's
doesn't
us
say
versus
that.
them.
But let's be very clear.
It's-
It
it's-
doesn't say that, sir.
It's
It doesn't say that. Okay? I'm sorry. The Second Amendment doesn't say that. It just doesn't. Okay? I'm not trying
what
to be
does it read for you?
It doesn't matter what it reads for me, sir. It's just the use of commas in the Second Amendment. It's not, it just doesn't say that. Okay? Excuse me. I can pull it up and read it word for word.
I'm right here with you.
Yeah, I don't need to interpret something. We'll just read it word for word. And then let's be clear, okay, about where commas are in the sentence and what that means. Okay? And again, this is not me
Is it
again arguing
a-
saying that you should never have guns. But commas are important. Okay?
Oxford commas, of course. Oxford comma.
Well, what commas are used for, right? A well-regulated militia. So let's start there. That is what it is talking about. The entire point of the Second Amendment, it starts off and it tells you what it is talking about. A well-regulated militia. It starts the whole thing out. Okay? Being necessary for a free state. Okay? So that's a descriptor. It is saying this a well-regulated militia, which is necessary for a free state, right? Cool. The right of the people to keep and bear arms. Okay, that is also describing the militia because that's what it's talking about. A well-regulated militia is also the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Comma, shall not be infringed. The right for the well-regulated militia shall not be infringed. And we've never infringed on that. Well, actually, technically, Donald Trump has in this term, regardless, by federalizing National Guards against the governor's will, because, again, the militia is supposed to be for a free state, right? For a free state, for a state to be able to use their National Guard, regardless.
So then who is
Okay.
the militia? Is it the National Guard? Is
That-
it you and I?
In
it
the
our
context
plan?
of the Second Amendment, it is the National Guard, right? Necessary for a free state. It's the National Guard. Now, we have a whole bunch of Supreme Court like case law that goes after this, right? In which it says that the Second Amendment does allow people to have weapons, right? Like Justice Alito said that, right? And I believe the Bruin case in the Supreme Court says that individual people have the right to have weapons. Okay, cool.
The right of the people.
No. But it also says in the Bruin decision that doesn't mean that there's not restrictions that are allowed on those firearms. That it is good towards the Second Amendment that there are restrictions on those firearms. That's why we have things like bans on on automatic weapons, for example, or the fact that you
can
can't
still
have
purchase them, but you have to have a tax from the government to purchase it.
right. Okay, but you can't buy an F-15, can you?
I've never tried,
Well, you can't.
but I'm sure there's a plenty of regulation to that too.
Yeah.
I
But
think
that's
that
what I'm saying.
the F-15 wouldn't be the difficult part. It would be the missiles that go in it.
Right, but that would be that'd be a weapon, right? It'd still fall under it, right?
If I were Elon Musk, I might try, but it's too much for I don't have those kind of deep pockets.
Well, that would cost you, I mean, for a base model around $30 million or so. But regardless, sir, restrictions are constitutional. Okay. And so when I see restrictions are constitutional, regulations are constitutional. okay, according to a very conservative, very Republican Supreme Court justice, all right, then it makes sense to me to use those regulations, to use those restrictions, to try to regulate the amount of guns we have in the United States, to be able to make sure that the right people have them, to make sure that when the right people have them, they are taking care of them, they are keeping them in a spot where they're not going to get stolen, and they know how to use them, which I think is also very important, right? And I think if we did that, we could clean up a whole bunch of guns off our streets that belong to criminals. We could increase the laws for, for people that, that have unregistered weapons or stealing weapons or all that sort of stuff. We could increase the penalties for that. We can increase things like red flag laws. We could do a whole bunch of stuff. Okay? Whole bunch of stuff to help reduce the amount of killings that are happening in the United States, reduce the amount of school shootings, make it where kids don't have to literally, do anti-shooter drills at schools, while also at the same time making sure people like myself, and I assume you, are still able to sport, hunt, and protect our families with our weapons, right? But we have to be able to find a way, okay, to get away from this mindset, right, that if it's either all or nothing, it's this slippery slope. If we freaking make any rules, it's going to end up with them taking all of our guns. We have to get past that point, right, mentally, and realize that the way that we're truly able to be free to do what we need to do with weapons or want to do with weapons is by enacting those laws. That is how we are truly free to do it.
So you think more regulation from the government, and at what point does it stop? At what point does it say you can't blow a whistle at a protest, or you can't be here protesting, the right of the people to peaceably assemble? At what point does the president, say Trump, or say there's another COVID lockdown, you brought up Australia earlier, and they start arresting people that are outside on beaches? They say, well, you can't go outside because we've enacted a curfew. And at what point does the government become too restrictive to you?
Yeah, easy sample, sir. Guns have nothing to do with that. Because we have more guns. We have more guns.
Right. What point does it become too restrictive in any way? Sure. And again, the second, going back to the first, going to the fourth, going to, can women vote? Well, women aren't intelligent enough to vote. Or the blacks in slavery, as if those are the only people that were enslaved. At what point does slavery then? Well, we're gonna force prisoners and camps to work. We're going to force the homeless people to work. We're going to create a new class of indentured servants. I'm just wondering, at what point is it too much government regulation to you?
Almost all of those things are currently happening, and to be honest, and guns didn't change a single part of that. We literally have legalized indentured servitude, illegal slavery in the United States in our prison system. That is happening currently right now. Okay? Like, they are trying to take away the citizenship of American citizens right now. It is becoming illegal to protest. You can get shot and killed for legally and peacefully protesting in the United States right this second. And guns didn't stop a single piece of that happening. Okay.
We'll circle back to earlier whenever we spoke on, I think it's mostly because not enough people have openly carried. I think it's because of this dichotomy of right and left that has brainwashed us to thinking that your side, because you have opinions, is bad, and my side, because I have opinions, is bad. And that the difference of opinion then enables individuals like Charlie Kirk or Renee Good or the newest example. I think that if we all showed up, if we all were together, and if we all were armed, that's the point of it, is that they can't, could they take assault? I don't know. Is that going to create more harm than good? Would the government back down if we were to all be armed? And I've told this to my girlfriend. I can't believe that, and I'm not advocating for it, I just can't believe that more people haven't been attempting to take these people out, to be firing at them. You know, if a person can touch Trump, which I don't know if it was real or not, but if a person can touch Trump from that far away, or Charlie Kirk, it just has astounded me that no one's attempted to do this with these law enforcement, with these federal agents that are, from some people's perspective, infringing on rights.
And here's my answer to that. Okay, and this is very simple. Right now, Greg Bovino has been removed. Right. Customs and Border Protection is pretty much for the most part running out of Minneapolis with their tails tucked between their legs. Right. There is mass call from both the left and the right for Kristi Noem to pretty much be unceremoniously impeached and removed. Donald Trump's approval rating is in the dirt. And the reason why all of those things happened, the reason why every single one of those things that happened, that I just said happened, is because of inciting violence. After the killing of Alex Peretti, there was vigils. Right? Because this peaceful protest ended in an innocent man enacting his First Amendment, was shot in the back on the ground 10 times without being armed. There was only one of two ways it could have gone. It could have gone one or two ways. Either the entire city of Minneapolis could have risen up in violence, and I'll tell you what would have been the answer, what would have happened then. Donald Trump
It's insane.
Donald Trump would have implemented the Insurrection Act, and we would have active duty military in Minneapolis fighting down the violent protests, those people with guns. But instead of that, the people of America peacefully protested, peacefully stood up for their rights, peacefully in an astonishing and overwhelming manner. And because of that, the Trump administration had to back down. They had to. Okay. So that is the reason why more guns doesn't help the situation. Because no matter how many guns the American citizens have, the US government will have more. Okay. Because again, we don't have drones. Okay. We don't have fighter jets. All right. We don't have all of those weapons. No matter how many we have, the only thing that will stop the violence from the government is being so peaceful that they do not have the other ability but to back down. Period. Point.
You know what happened in Afghanistan? Afghanistan, we were in 20 years of an occupation. And in 20 days after the United States tucked its tail between its legs and trusted these heroin-addicted guards to secure active duty Afghan soldiers to secure this shithole, desert, the Taliban, a terrorist organization, took it over. And I'm ignorant of what actually happened there, but to digress just a moment and look to a different angle, what would your reaction have been instead of him walking up to the agent and putting his arm up on him if he had pulled his gun out and shot him?
Then we'd be in martial law.
Celebration? Well, would it have been celebration from the left, or would it have been cheers from the left?
I don't know what the left would have done. I know I wouldn't have.
He deserves it. He deserved it because he's an occupying federal agent force that is in taking people's rights away.
He's not an occupying federal agent, sir. He is there because people that support Trump voted for him to be there. This isn't an occupying force. This isn't like us in Afghanistan where we invaded their country in order to bring democracy to another region of the world that we had no right or ability to do so, right? This is an ICE agency that is there because people voted in Donald Trump. And then our elected representatives voted to make them the same, pretty much to be funded the same size as the IDF, as the Israeli military. Okay? Because we put them there. Not we, not me, but Americans put them in that city. Okay? They peacefully put them in there, so it is the only way to get them out is to peacefully put them out. And comparing to that, Afghanistan just doesn't fit, right? It just doesn't, right? Not to mention we should have never been in Afghanistan regardless, but...
I'm more or less comparing it to an uprising of citizens versus a peaceful protest. I mean, they might have been peaceful for a time until these individuals left, and it was right back to chaos, if you will, to where women couldn't go to school, and there was a reinstatement of women mandate of covering themselves with a hijab, etc.
Yeah, but again,
I'm not comparing
that's
the two.
that's
two
the
nations.
leaving of an invading force and leaving that incorrectly, way too quickly and improperly back to the Afghan army. That's what a bad pullout looks like. But the
I think
Minnesota
this is
Minnesota
how-
is going to be just fine. Again,
I think this
Greg
is how
Bovino's
discourse should
gone.
be.
Tom Homan's coming in, and as shitty as Tom Homan is, because he is not a good person, he's significantly better than Greg Bovino, and he's better than Kristi Noem, just calling a duck a duck. And Minnesota's going to keep standing up. They're not going to stop, right? They're not going to stop being in ISIS face. They're not going to stop recording. They're not going to stop protesting. Minnesota is tired of this, and the only way to do it is to make sure that every time these guys misstep, yeah, W's in the chat for Minnesota. W's in the chat for Minnesota. It's to make sure, again, the biggest weapon against an authoritarian regime or somebody who's trying to be authoritarian or be an occupying force or commit, violations of our rights, the biggest weapon against that is evidence. It's evidence against them, right? Because if you saw, right, regardless of what you believe about the Renee Good situation, okay, what the Trump administration said about it was a bold-faced lie. Okay, they called her a domestic terrorist. Okay, that's a bold-faced lie. The only reason we know that's not true is because Pillman was videotaping. Multiple people were videotaping. Regardless of what you feel about it, okay? Regardless. What happened to
Was
Alex?
she impeding law enforcement?
Regardless, was she a domestic terrorist?
What is, if we're going to go
Was
back to
she a domestic
words,
terrorist, sir? It's that simple.
what is the definition of a terrorist?
Yeah,
Is she inciting
someone based
fear
off
in these people?
an ideology commits or attempts to commit a mass amount of violence in order to strike fear into a society in order to progress a political ideology.
That fits part of that, yeah.
No, it's not.
I mean,
It was none
wouldn't
of
call
that,
her
and that's
that.
bullshit, sir.
I wouldn't call her that.
Because she wasn't that. You wouldn't call her that because she wasn't one. Again, regardless of what you feel about it, she was not a domestic terrorist. Okay, period. You can say she was impeding. You can say she tried to hit him. You can say all that shit, which is wrong. But regardless of whether you believe that or not, she's still not a domestic terrorist. Okay? Then Alex Preddy got killed, and the first thing they said was, he's a domestic terrorist. Right? He had gone out there with the sole reason of committing mass violence against ICE officers. And then we saw the video. And now we know that's not true. So we know that this government is willing to lie, is willing to cheat, is willing to tell you whatever in order to propagate their ideology, even when it's not true. So the number one way to fight that is by making sure there's evidence. And you get evidence by making sure that people are following ICE around and taking photo and taking video and making sure their cameras are on. That's how we fight against this. That is the peaceful way to fight against this, not with more violence. More violence is not the answer here in any way, shape, or form.
I can see how it would alleviate with less violence. I would like to point that I feel, again, this is a distraction perhaps from allegations of fraud, and that the Harris Walls campaign could have been, had he gotten into office, and this may have been swept under the rug. I feel as if this is I feel like you cannot believe what you see, and they're all actors and they all lie to us, which leads me back to my point of we the people, we all must stand together, because all of us together are stronger than, because not all of the military is going to join with, like what you're saying, an authoritarian force. Because if we take it back to, and I wouldn't compare one to Hitler or the other, but I would say that Hitler wanted to take guns, similar to how many different authoritarian regimes did. And if we take this back to the SS, only 30 or 40,000, I believe, had made this push in the very beginning. And so I would hope to think, I would like to think that not only we can have a calm and coherent discourse, but also that we the people would come together, even those in the military, and call a spade, call what's right, and what's wrong, wrong.
I hope everyone
And I do
does too,
appreciate
sir.
you.
I hope everyone does too. But let's also be clear, okay? This is not a both sides against each other thing. This has nothing to do with the left and the right. This is right versus wrong. This is fascism versus democracy. Okay. This is democracy versus authoritarianism. Okay. And this is facts versus everything that's not a fact. Like, you brought up the fraud. Did you know that they had been investigating this and indicting people on this fraud since 2022? That there's over 60 people in jail for this fraud that Donald Trump sent ICE to? Another 30 indictments that were most likely going to lead to jailing people. Before Donald Trump sent a single federal agent into Minneapolis, there was already over 60 people in jail for this fraud, with another 30 on their way. This is not a left versus right thing, sir. This is propaganda versus facts. Okay? And the Trump
Well, of course,
administration...
sitting at a stop sign. But if you're going down the road, you can see where maybe a constitutional republic leads, and also where social democratic ideologies can lead to. And I believe that that's where fear runs into play. We want more government in one side, less government in the other side, or is it flipped? Is one going to be an authoritarianism? And there's a perfect balance. I don't know what it is. I don't know the answer, but I do enjoy raising these questions for people to ponder and see that we can have common ground.
Yeah, there is an answer to this, and it's a complete destruction of the Constitution of the United States and a redoing of this failed system called the U.S. government. That's what it is. But nobody wants that answer, and nobody wants to have that conversation, just to be completely honest with you.
Is the grass always greener on the other side?
Yes.
What if it's replaced
In this case,
with a worse
yes.
system?
No, I'm not saying replace it with a worse system. I'm saying replace it with a better one, because we already know what a better one looks like. We see it all across the world right now. We can literally see what a better one looks like right now. We have a perfect playbook for a parliamentary system with a prime minister that works so much better than ours. Okay?
In Australia?
Canada, the UK.
I heard from Canada on the subject of guns, because that's my whole personality.
We're not talking about,
of course.
obviously, sir, but we're not talking about guns. We're talking about their system of government. Okay, their system of government. A government
Control.
where you can have a no confidence vote and remove someone from office at any point in time. That at any point in time, you can elect.
I've seen so much about how they've been bribed. So who gets bribed in that country? I don't know enough about their country to see.
Well, sir, I don't know who gets bribed there, but I sure as hell know who gets bribed here.
All of them. All of them get bribed from Israel.
Donald Trump gets bribed in our faces.
Yeah.
Not by Israel, sir. Tim Cook.
Not only Israel.
Tim Cook handed him a gold brick, and then tariffs were off of Apple like the next day. The Qataris literally gave him a jet, and then they announced like a week later, and they put Qatari Air Force jets on American soil. It was literally that quick.
Is it the drug user's fault or the drug dealer? Is it the consumer? Is it our fault because we all enjoy Apple? Should we boycott Apple?
It's your fault when you put the drug dealer as president.
Do you believe that elections matter and that our vote really matters?
They used to. Elections used to matter. But again, sir, if we were to switch ourselves over to a parliamentary system and get rid of the Constitution, then literally everybody's vote in this country would matter. But we refuse to do that, and so we're in the system that we're in right now, and now not everybody's vote does matter, and people's votes in swing states matter than votes in everybody else's. But we could redo this system. We could easily redo it, but we're not doing that. We'd rather live in the squalor that we've put ourselves in than to just fix the system, even though we have better rules. Actually, it actually does kind of circle all the way back to the gun debate, if you really want to be honest with you.
What's a better
it really does circle
archetype for freedom?
Yeah, it really does circle all the way back. We've seen other countries.
For you and I to join.
Sir, we're not even top 10 on the freedom index in the world. We are not more free than other countries. Okay.
I heard you bring up a statistic on the caller before last about how high we are ranked. But if you take out 5 blue cities, I don't know if this is a true statistics. Perhaps your callers could back me up on
Blue
this, or you
cities don't
could. But if you
exist.
take out the top, if you took out the top 5
Blue
quote
cities
unquote
don't
Democrat-run
exist.
cities,
Democrat-run cities don't exist.
okay, the Democrat mayors or Democrat
Do
governors,
mayors
perhaps,
create
you
laws?
could say that. hmm If
Mayors
you took out these
create
top
laws?
5 cities where a certain demographic reside mostly, that
No.
we
Sir.
plummet.
Sir, dude, people in cities are just more Democrat. Can you please name me a non-Democrat city?
I mean, case in point.
Name me a non-Democrat city.
Exactly.
That's not an exactly, sir. You think that you won that, you didn't. Okay? That is not.
I'm not trying to win it
I know,
either.
but you're saying
just
exactly
trying to
as
have
if
discourse
that
with you.
matters, sir. Sir, what happens is Democrats as a whole, okay? Things like social safety nets, important. Where are social safety nets the most important? In cities. Okay? Where do they have the most effect? In cities. They teach things like diversity. Where does diversity go the furthest? In cities. Okay? When Zohran Mamdani talks about public transportation, where do you think that goes the furthest? In a city. Okay? If you're in rural
course.
Indiana, it doesn't go as far in a city. Okay?
But did he
What-
lie about being able to
Sir,
be
sir,
capable
sir,
of doing
sir,
that?
I'm not finished. Let me finish. Okay. So cities as a whole tend to be more progressive than their rural counterparts. Period. Okay. That happens in every city in the United States. That happens in every city across the world. Okay. Every city across the world is more liberal and more progressive than how their rural counterparts are. Okay? So therefore, because of the demographics of this city, they elect people that more match their ideals. Okay? That's all it is. There is no democratic city. Cities are just more left-leaning. All of them are. Okay? And then people point out, they're like, oh, look at all the crime in democratic cities. No.
Hello.
Just like cities are just naturally more demographic, they're more diverse, and so therefore more democratic, the more people you put in one area, the more crime there is. It's just that simple. Okay? It doesn't matter whether a Republican runs the city, a Democrat runs the city. Guess what? There are cities like Fort Worth, Texas, right? That have mayors that are Republican. Guess what? That city has a higher crime rate than its rural counterparts per capita. It's just the way cities work, sir. And whenever I hear these stats, it's like, you've never been to a city, huh? Like, dude, you stack people on top of each other, put the majority of poor people in those cities, right? And then you're like, oh, it's the mayor's fault there's crime. No, cities just have more crime. It's just the way it is. Okay.
So you don't believe in personal accountability?
Of course,
or
I believe in personal
autonomy?
accountability, sir. Of course, I believe in
Whenever you
personal
say
accountability. I don't believe
say
in
you put
fake
these people
stats
here.
like democratic cities. I don't believe in fake stats like democratic cities.
But you said you put these people on top of each other.
Yeah, because most of the ghettos, when freaking redlining happened, where you put poor people and black people, happened in these cities.
And when did redlining happen? You're saying
You're
that
acting
these
like the
people
effects of
stayed out
redlining. The effects of redlining still haven't ended, sir.
I'm not sure the definition of that. But what I do know is, yes, these poor, maybe people of color, maybe white people, maybe whoever. But where did you begin? Did you rise up out of a situation because it was negative? Any situation?
Sir,
or did you say, well, I'm going to just keep myself low
what
and
is the
down?
number one indicator of crime anywhere in the world and throughout history?
You're thinking of violent crime?
Yes. What is the number one indicator of violent crime? Okay. The number one factor that affects violent crime anywhere in the world and throughout history.
You would say poverty.
I'm not going to, no. So you're saying you would say poverty as if that's my opinion. Okay. It's not my opinion. It is a fact that it is poverty. Okay? That is a stone cold fact. There's no debate or opinion on this. It is poverty. Okay? So when you have things like redlining, which still happen today, and we're still seeing the effects of mass freaking redlining that happened in the 70s, when you have that, which has created systemic poverty within our system, then crime is more likely to happen in those areas. Just that simple, sir.
So you think because of people's socioeconomic status that it gives them an excuse to commit crimes
Nope.
in their mind?
Did I say that that crime was right
It
because
was a
people were poor?
question. It
Sir,
was a
did I say
question.
that crime was right in any point in that?
No.
What
but
did I
don't
say?
think I accused you of that
What-
either.
Yes, you did, because you just said, "Oh, so you think that it's a bad faith argument, sir. You're trying to paint it into a corner where I'm like, oh, well, they're poor, so they could commit crimes." That's not what I said, sir. I said the
But
crime exists in
You
poverty.
said poor people do.
It doesn't matter whether they're white, black, freaking yellow, Asian, whatever, freaking blue, Smurfs, Martians from another country that are red and have big green googly eyes. Race doesn't matter. Your area doesn't matter. Your relation to money does. Your relation to money affects crime rate. And poor people tend to be in cities. Just is what it is, dude. That's just a fact of life. You see crime in freaking where does it happen in rural areas? Does it happen in rich freaking farmland and beef farms? No, it happens at the trailer park down the road. That's where all the criminals live. Everybody in the rural area knows it. It's just that simple. Okay? Like it's just
So do you think that Harris would have been a better choice as president? Obviously,
Of
whenever
course.
you say, do you agree with Trump, you think that he's a bad choice.
Of course Harris was a better option as president, but the bar for that isn't very high.
Even though the governor of Minnesota would have been her vice president, even though she said she wanted to ban assault weapons, to what end? What counts as an assault weapon? Is it California's definition of no more than 10
Sir,
magazines?
she could have said,
10
I'm going to
10-round
smoke
magazines?
crack in the Oval Office. She could have said, I'm going to smoke crack in the Oval Office, and she would still be a better candidate. Okay? Like, she literally could have picked up a crack pipe and literally had it in her hand and said, I'm going to smoke this in the Oval Office, and she still would have been a better candidate than Trump. Okay, so if you think that I give a shit about Tim Walz or what's going on in Minnesota or whether she wants to do an assault weapons ban, none of that affects anything that I'm saying, sir, whatsoever. Literally nothing, okay? Literally nothing. Because Donald Trump is currently in violation of, again, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the 15th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, the 22nd, and he has a whole bunch of other ones that are on the docket that he really, really wants to go after too. Okay, a whole bunch of them, okay? He has literally freaking created a secret police that is going around intimidating, beating people up, throwing on the side of the road. He's literally creating concentration camps. He's literally shooting American citizens in the back, right? He's literally doing all of these things currently right now, sir. So I don't know what Kamala Harris would have been or what exactly she would have implemented or whether she even would have been a good president, okay?
I think she would have ushered in the death of the white race by importing 20 million more people of color from other countries. And I know you might be mixed, but I'm not. And so I think that the survival of the white race is very important. I feel like we're being inundated with people from another country that are invited over here. And then some of them break laws, which one bad apple spoils the bunch. And so whenever we try to remedy that situation, it looks really bad whenever individuals attempt to defend those, what appears to be those bad apples. And I believe that's why things got escalated.
Just remember, y'all. I just really want y'all to remember, okay? Just take this second, right? We are 44 minutes into this conversation. Okay, we are 44 minutes in. All right. And I just want to be very clear the next time somebody tells me, okay, that it wasn't about race, guys. It wasn't about her being a woman. It wasn't about race. It wasn't about any of these things. It was simply she wasn't qualified. Just remember this part of the conversation, because the racism doesn't come out immediately. Okay? It takes time. Okay?
Was she
These
black
are-
or was she
shh,
Indian?
Shh.
She was neither, or is that why you said she
She's
smoked
both,
crack in the White
actually.
House? Because you're
Be quiet. I'm
are
talking.
you-
All right, I'm muting him. She was actually both, but regardless of any of that. Okay? Because one of those is a race and one of those is an ethnicity. So you can be both of those things, okay? But regardless. Okay? Just remember, the racism doesn't show up immediately, y'all. It doesn't. It takes time to get to it. Sometimes you gotta massage it out of them. But I promise you, okay? I promise you that sooner or later it will show up. Okay? Sooner or later it will show up. Okay? You just have to let it get there. All right? Sooner or later, the white hood pops out. Okay? It just does. All right. I'm going to leave this conversation because it is too late in my night to be dealing with you. All right. It is too late in my night to be dealing with you. All right. I've been on for almost 3 hours. Okay. And I do not have the patience for you right now. All right. Y'all, please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Okay. Just know it will show up. It'll get there. All right. Someone called it. He said the blacks like 5 minutes in, and somebody was like, the blacks. And I was like, we're gonna let it get there. Okay.
Insane.
We're gonna let it get there. All right. We're gonna let it get there. I was gonna let it ferment for a bit. All right. Please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Guys, I need one money gun to light this thing up real quick. Just one before I gotta try to finish this off before the end of the week. So I need one so I can try to get this thing lit up. Lovely goddess, thank you so much for the oh dear, I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Andy, thank you so much for the floating heart. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna run through a few super chats real quick. Thank you so much. Whoever just sent out Shaylu, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's very sweet. Jen, thank you so much for the $5. Says, you guys, you gay cousins always get a bad. Oh, that's the other guy. Yeah, dude talking about his gay cousins as well. Please, please, please hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We do this 6-7 nights a week, and we are growing this following. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Really, I do. Thank you so much, Jen. Megs, thank you so much for the gifted membership. I also saw a couple people become members in there. I tried to grab it and click on them quick enough, but I missed a few. So if you became a member, thank you so much also. I really, really appreciate that. Miss Contagious said, respectfully, how can we join forces with someone who refers to black people as blacks? Isn't it crazy? Well, here's the thing. We don't do that because they end up talking about the Great Replacement Theory somewhere in there. So we just don't do that. You didn't know this at the time, but we just don't do that. Mark, thank you so much. Said, bro is too scared to be a minority in his own country. See, y'all were calling it all the way. This came in a while ago. Y'all had called this a while ago. All right. Y'all were way ahead of me on the racist stuff. You guys got me. All right, you guys got me. You guys are good. You guys are good at this. You guys are real good at this. All right. Thank you so much, Mark. Cass said, whoa, just when I started warming up to the guy. He almost made it. All right. He almost did it. I trained you guys well. Is that what it was? You guys have learned through the years? Jason, thank you so much. Super chat, because I've never seen anyone so blinded by a turn of a conversation like that. We are all shocked. He even got me, and I've been doing this for a long time, and he even got me. That is very, very true. He even got me. So, hey, even for us that have been doing this for a long time, they catch us off guard every once in a while. Cass, thank you so much. Said, out of curiosity, mate, what keeps you in U.S.? You like literally come to Poland. We have guns, but no gun crime, free healthcare, and very little racism. I don't know about that whole racism. I did live in Italy for a while, and there was a whole bunch of racism there. It gets kind of cold up there in Poland, though, doesn't it? Apparently, I'm Polish, so I don't know. Maybe I'll consider it. I'm sure I'll become a political dissident at some point, so I'm definitely gonna need a place to go eventually. Poland's less cold than Canada, right? I don't know. Thank you so much, Ed. YK, thank you so much for the jewels. T, thank you so much for the jewel. Claude, thank you so much for the jewels. All things good. Thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate that. That's very sweet. Hot dog, thank you so much for that money gun. Laney, thank you so much for the 6-7. Cool, thank you so much for the floating heart. The proud atheist says it's always about race. It generally tends to be, unfortunately. Even as hard as I try not to make it that way, it always does tend to be about race. Jeff says rural does not mean rich. You have it backwards. No, there's rich people in both rural areas and urban areas. I never said rural means rich. That was never a thing I said. So, yeah, but thank you. I appreciate that. Claude, thank you so much for the clutch. Saren, thank you so much for the floating heart. I do really appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, guys. We are right at the 3-hour mark, so I am gonna call it a night and go get some sleep or something. I'm tired. Yes, JT, this is live. But thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Claude, thank you so much for that last second super chat too. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Didn't want to let that go. Y'all have a wonderful night. I will be back on tomorrow. I might be doing a joint with Ari tomorrow. I'm not sure. But I will be on tomorrow in some way, shape, or form, in some type of fashion on somebody's account. I'm just not sure which one. I'll be on tomorrow. Make sure you're in my Discord. Make sure you're in all that stuff, and we'll let you know what's going on. But besides that, I hope you guys have a wonderful night. I will see you guys later. All right. Have a wonderful evening. All right, y'all. Bye-bye.